Assemble.
Musical my boy up on the map.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, if you got headphones in, I'll just mashed up your eardrums, jokes in it. Yeah, it's good, guys. Your boy Good back again for another Hangover show live. First one of the season, man. It's been a minute still because all the other ones have been full of just transfer nonsense that I don't particularly care about, but it's all good, you know. Content is content and all that. Big up to the boys on the panel. Got the Avengers with me. Take stuff off mute and say hello to the squad.
Big up the panel, big up the chat. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Big up, man. We're here, bro. We're here. We're alive. We're above ground. Vibes, bro. Let's get it, man.
Yeah, man. Good. It's good to be back, man. I'm like I said, bro. The transfer whole saga weekend and all the whole window is just long, bro. Like I want to talk about actual football in it. So good to be here, man. See the rest of the sports around the world. Obviously, chop up some of the news and that, man. But yeah, I already asked how you was backstage, man. But to other people, man, how's everyone doing? Everyone good?
Do you know, I appreciate if you are still. You know what I mean?
Man, well, I'm asking twice, bro. What on the Hollywood thing, bro? I asked you already, man.
All right, fair enough. I'll just answer it. And I feel good, bro. Woke up this morning, had too much on my mind, so I had to go and do a live. Apart from that, chilling, man. Family as well. Everyone's chilling. I think they're all like just chilling around the house somewhere. They're doing their own thing. So I'm here, man.
Man, like Love Island, Kevin, that Love Island season is finished, but the football season has started. You know what it is.
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling fresh. I've got a day off today. I've got some painting to do in this room I'm in now. You obviously can't see it because I've got the background up, but woke up early this morning, put another coat of paint on the walls, and caught up with your guys' podcasts, player ratings from yesterday's game whilst I was doing it. And it's nice to actually have a little bit of time on a Monday to catch up with things and slow down a little bit. So I feel fresh. I feel good. And like you said, football's back, and it's nice to be talking about actual games and things within the game as opposed to around the game. So yeah, good times, man.
Exactly. How's the painting going? Is it the office you're painting?
Yeah, the new office. It's one of them where I'm just doing it white at the moment, but as I paint it, it looks like nothing's going on the walls, and then as it dries, it darkens. So a lot of faith in what I'm doing right now.
I get it, man. For the man that don't have OCD, bro, that shit's so annoying, bro. You'll start spotting stuff that you didn't spot when you was painting it. You're like, I can't go over it.
You already know.
Yeah, man. But hey, Premier League action. Won't watch other sports stuff over the weekend. There was some boxing that I chopped up as well. I don't know if you guys any saw that, but we'll get to it anyway, man. There's loads of Premier League games, man. Some people set their stalls out. It's going to take some people to get into it, and that. But yeah, I mean, let's get it. Yeah, man, made me feel like I was in an airport in a Brazilian kit, bro. Come on, you know the vibes, bro. Yeah, the Prem action kicked off on Friday. First game kicked off was Man City versus Vincent Kompany's Burnley, bro, which is welcome to the Prem, Vincent. Obviously did well last season, got promoted pretty early with Burnley from the Championship. I think I don't know if I'm correct. I swear I watched a game. Did I watch Burnley versus Man City last season as well in the cup?
In the cup, yeah.
Okay, 6-0. All right, I thought so. Like, this ain't the first time, but he turned up with his, you know what I mean, little suit and that, bro. He looked crisp though with his big head, but
his big head.
Yeah, man, it was a good game, man. Don't know if you guys caught the game, but from what I saw of it, I watched the whole game, and it gave me the feeling straight back of, oh God, Man City, man. They're just like, they play great football, but they bore me, I think, because I'm emotionally invested in the league. Once he gets to a certain point in the game, I'm like, just lock the game off. Just give him the 3 points in it. But Burnley gave a good show for themselves. They were pretty good in the first half. I think they had enough chances to hurt Man City, but they didn't put them away. And obviously, if you don't put them away against Man City, you lose the game. Man City looked decent. Didn't look at their best yet. Some defensive holes, and obviously De Bruyne got lost early, injury. So listen, rivalry or not, and it's football in it. So hopefully he's okay. And then yeah, man, and then they just went and done what they done, and obviously we know the machine turned up, Terminator, and just done what he does, bruv. And yeah, what you not saying, man?
Do you know, the start of the season, we always talk about teams take a few games, maybe to the international break to get up to speed. But some players don't. You know, some of the best players just hit it from the off, and it depends who you're up against. Obviously, Man City have Burnley, so that's what they would consider an easier fixture. Although, as we've seen, newly promoted side at home Friday night, if you can get the crowd on side, maybe a scruffy goal, you can sort of pile a bit of pressure on. Brentford did it a few years back, didn't they, against Arsenal? I think it was. But it's Man City, and rarely does that happen to them. They just control proceedings a bit. This guy Haaland, man. Johnny on the spot to get one of his goals, and then the other goal where he just on his left foot pinged off the underside of the bar. Like you said, machine. Doesn't matter when he's playing. Doesn't matter if it's first game of the season, last game of the season. The guy guarantees goals, and he's just turned up from the off straight away. So crazy. I was surprised to see. Well, not surprised because I don't know a whole lot about Man City's preparations for this, but Alvarez involved, because I thought Alvarez was more of an option to De Bruyne, because De Bruyne I don't think is featured a lot in pre-season, so I thought maybe he plays instead, but they both started, which was a bit of a surprise. But maybe because of the absence now of, well, not the absence, but Mahrez and a few others leaving, that's just, there might be more reliance on Alvarez, and he's a very good player, so we might see him a bit more this season.
Yeah, Man City do tend to, they've run their club like that since Guardiola's been there now, since the second season, where they tend to have their players in reserve that are going to replace the next player who leaves, and so they never really get left out. So what will happen is now Alvarez will jump to the first team, they'll buy someone else to go on the bench, and then in about 2 years we'll see that they're balling out, bro. But what did you think of the game, bro?
Do you know, I don't care about the game. I've just got a couple of things I'm upset about. Two things really. One, Kevin De Bruyne got injured, so I don't get no points in my fantasy team. And two, they didn't start.
What, you don't care about the man's health, just the fantasy team?
Nah, my fantasy team, bro. He needs to get me assist and goals. He didn't do none of the two, so I'm upset about that. And then Stones didn't start the game, and this Carl Walker guy all of a sudden now is just running around like, I thought he was leaving, bro. Why is he still here, man? What's going on? Need to get rid of this guy at the league, man. He's helping them too much. But like what Cav said, Haaland, this guy is just unreal, man. Start to see, they just plugged him in and said, listen, big man, download, you're scoring another 50 goals this season. Go and score a couple of goals in the. And even at half time, Pep was having a go at him. I don't even know what for, because I thought he was playing all right.
That was one of the funniest things.
Yeah,
slapped the camera away as well.
Listen,
it away, bro.
It's you see at that level, it's the small margins, the small detail, the minute stuff. And he's like, no, if you he's probably telling him, look, if you make these runs better, or if you hold on to ball that's there, that's another goal. So he's looking at it in the fine detail, and that's probably what he was complaining to him about. And this is after the guy scored a goal as well and looked good in the game. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is going to be a big miss for them being injured. I don't know how long he's injured for, but they've got players, man. Like Cav said, Alvarez is there, and this guy is unreal, man. He scores goals, makes assists, and he's very much in the mold of a Jota, but I think he might be slightly better, in my opinion, in terms of like his game management, in the way he thinks about the game. He looks like a player that could probably slot into midfield as well. Play as a second striker. He's just similar to Jota. If you give him the opportunity, the ball will fly in the back of the net, but he can also create as well on top of that. But like I said, with Carl Walker, I just want this guy leaving the league, man. I thought he was going to leave.
Man. Chico's staying, bro. Like they gave him the captaincy in one of the games, and that they played him from the start. They let him know early you're important to us. Because remember, it was him who wanted to go to Bayern. That's where it came from. So, the De Bruyne misses. It's weird because obviously I don't know what's going on. I think they said he was going to have a scan today or something like that. It's easy for us to, because they're so good, it's easy to go, well, they've got other players. But if De Bruyne is as good as everyone says he is, then he should be a miss. And they've lost under one already. So if he's the best player in the league, then it don't matter how good you are. It should make a difference. So it's going to be interesting to see who capitalizes on that and see what happens, because I know he's the one who looks for Haaland on every move almost. And as for Haaland, that finish under the bar, bro, he didn't even look at the goal, bro. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. And I was saying to End before when I saw Grealish's interview, and he was talking about people going out and partying after the celebration and stuff, and he said, this Haaland guy's boring, man. He just went back home, and then he started training and that straight away, and he just trains and goes home, eats and goes back to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can tell, bro.
Yeah.
And I like it because even that you lot probably saw after the I think it was after the Champions League when he was speaking to Henry, asking what he could do better and stuff. I'm like, big man, go celebrate. Nah, he wants to know what he can do better instantly. So I rate it still. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that people that don't act like him I don't rate. I just, you know, what I mean, I'm more on the side of that. Like it's kind of cold, so it'd be interesting. And as for the Pep thing at halftime, yeah, man's a perfectionist on it, and as long as you got the players who can handle that kind of scrutiny, sometimes you find he's had players over the years who can handle it. And it doesn't mean that it's the right or wrong way to go, but it's his way on it. And it's funny because if you look at it, just before the whistle went, Haaland was doing the same thing to Bernardo. He was screaming at him because he didn't pass him the ball in a certain instance, and then Guardiola came on and said something to him. So yeah, go for the rest of obviously they finished top last season, and the team that finished second was Arsenal. They took on Nottingham, another game that I got to watch as well. I think I don't know if it was live while that was on, and I was watching it.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, they picked up a 2-1 victory. I don't know if you guys saw it, but listen, they look good. They look good. They look smooth in the way they're passing the ball. They weren't as gun-ho as there was last season, out from the blocks like that. But they look decent. But Nottingham did give them a good game. Like, there was parts in the game where teams like Nottingham, you look and you go, sometimes you just don't have the quality, and that's where you lose. It's not about the play. And that's for their flipping goal, bro. When they brought Alanga on, man ran through the whole. Bro, one of the coldest goals I've seen, man. Counter attack, ran through the whole team in that square ball, and then good finish, man. But you guys, I don't know if you saw the game or saw the highlights of this, but obviously Saka put that absolute banger, and then Martinelli twisted them up as well. Hey man, they look good, bro.
Yeah, the Martinelli turn did the rounds on Twitter and everything. Yeah, cold. Yeah, that's what it's capable of. That's the visit. No. I'm not having
that. He flopped the skill, bro. That's all it was. He flopped the skill and it landed to a player.
It went to the player, and great finish in Nketiah though. Sent the keeper the wrong way.
Yeah, and do you know what? Nketiah is like that guy that want Jesus in there. You know, Havertz has come in. He might spend a little bit of time up front as a makeshift forward, if you like. But Nketiah, when he plays, he's a good goal girl, you know. And he's not going to be the guy that you look to for the entire season. But when he steps in, he does well. And he took his finish well as well. Drove it into the goal. So interesting player actually, Nketiah. I can't quite work out what his actual level is. Do you know if he wasn't at Arsenal where he would sort of belong? What side he would do well in, because he can get goals. You know, it's a funny one, really. I suppose it's a good player to have in reserve.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? I'll ask you like this question because it's a fine line, and I know what you mean. You know, in terms of like, you have players who join the first team of the big clubs, say top 6 or whatever like that. Do you think that the people who are on the bench for those teams are better than the strikers and that for the next teams below? Because I feel like the tier goes first 11 for the big teams, sub for the big teams, then the teams underneath. And I feel like Nketiah fits the sub for the big teams at the moment. Yeah, but I don't know. It's a weird.
Is he better than an Ollie Watkins? Is he better than João Pedro? I don't know.
If I'm fair to him, I think Watkins is further ahead in development. I think he's just like, Watkins won't change his game now. You know what you're going to get from him. And Nketiah has been in a team where he's been in and out for a while, and he was on loan before as well. Whereas Ollie Watkins, after he got signed from, was it Bournemouth? Yeah, Bournemouth. He's been in Villa's first team and stuff like that. And João Pedro, a bit more skillful and stuff. But I think Nketiah at Arsenal, well, I don't know, man. Yeah. Arsenal fans, they just turn on him when they feel like it. If he'll have another game not score, and then they'll hate him again. And he was going to leave at one point to get game time. So maybe I know what you mean though. He's maybe fit for like, you know, I don't even know what I'm talking about, bro. Maybe underneath the, I feel like he could play for like, say Brighton. They play really good football, but them kind of teams like Welbeck plays for Brighton up front. He's good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, obviously you weren't looking to move, but you know, with Ivan Toney out for a long while at Brentford, maybe you could have got a loan there or something. You know, maybe that would have suited him possibly.
Yeah, I agree. Ends? You see the game?
Oh no, I didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlights. Like I said before the season started, I watched the game against Man United. Arsenal, a good team, don't get me wrong, but I still feel they can be got at this season. I don't see the same Arsenal I saw last season. Maybe they've gone to more of a defensive because they try to keep it a bit more tighter than we've naturally like to see them play. But I think Saliba I still only believe they have a first team. I still believe the guys that they've got on the bench don't sway the team one bit in any way, shape, or form. Saka is still their main player. I'm just looking at their team and I go, right, Timber looks like an ACL injury first game. That's bad for them. And then I just look at their team and I think if Saliba or Saka gets injured, that's them done. I don't see anyone that can come into the team and replace them and they just carry on doing what they're doing. That's just in my opinion. Odegaard, cold as always. And Partey as well, the player that they wanted to get rid of, way better player than Declan Rice is. If Partey's out of this team as well, I would love to see what they do because I don't see how Declan Rice would be able to cope without Partey. Partey was winning the ball back a lot. His forward pass in terms of his transition, turning and running at players. He's cold, man. And like you guys said about Nketiah, he's a good player, but like you said, where does he actually fit in? Until he actually plays a full season in a team, I couldn't honestly answer that question. I would have to see him play. I don't know, like what you just said, Cav. Maybe a Brentford for the whole season, and then see what his level is. Because if he goes to Brentford and then scores 20 goals in the Prem, in theory, you'd be like, if he plays for one of the top teams with better creators, no offense to Brentford, then you'd probably say he's probably a top striker, but he's just not been given a chance. Especially when you're a player and every minute that the star man gets injured, they use you, and then the fans don't really rate you. But you back yourself. You trust what your abilities are. But he's like in a team, out the team, in the team, out the team. There's no consistency in how good he can actually be.
Yeah, he had good moments last season, didn't it?
I don't know. Love to see him play for another team and then see how he does.
Yeah, I think he went on like for the 5-5 last season for a little bit when Jesus first went out. You're right though. So what Cav said was mentioning Brentford. I'm like, yeah, he's not better than Ivan Toney. But Ivan Toney seems like he's too good for Brentford. That's probably the swap there, isn't it? Because if Arsenal had Ivan Toney, I'm worried, bro. Because at the moment, they had Jesus was Man City's number 2 for a long time. I rate him a lot. Man City fans and that said that they don't believe he can be number 1 either. So that means and then Nketiah, they don't believe he can be number 1. So it's like having 2 number 2 strikers. And then when you listen to Arsenal, when they played the game against Monaco, and I watched some of the fan cams after, all they were asking for was, we need a striker. We need a striker. So I don't know, man. Interesting, but I think you're right, man. They can be got at.
Assemble.
Big up, Zabiri.
Hey, morning to the Mondum.
Big
up, bro.
What's going on?
Come on, bro. Go on, Cav.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's a bit obvious now because he's had some good seasons already. But Odegaard is one hell of a player, isn't he? And you remember when he was like, well, I think about 15, he was being, every club around Europe was sort of inviting him down to the training grounds, and he had trials here and everywhere. And he ended up at Madrid, didn't he? In the end, didn't quite work out. Obviously, he's still a young man, and he's made his way to Arsenal. But when you cast your mind back a few years, people were talking about, and this was mainly because of the fault, Firmino doing the false 9 and a few others. They were saying that the number 10 role was a bit of a dying position. No one was really, no one seemingly like, 4-3-3 with the false 9 was the way to go, or and the 4-2-3-1 with a man in the pot in that hole wasn't really the formation or the style that was doing well for the top clubs. But he seems to be an out and out quality number 10. And and the fluidity that he brings to the team, the intelligence of the passing, the press resistance, he is one hell of a player. And it's nice, not from a rival point of view, but it's nice to see a youngster that you hear of at such a young age now come and fulfill his potential, because
so cool.
because I'm not sure if you guys picked it up with the same as me, but at this point in time I knew about youngsters through like Football Manager and these kind of things, but Odegaard was like a standout kid in the media at 15.
He was the wonder kid of the time, man.
And he was like the one. And then he went to Madrid, and I didn't follow him too much, and it kind of went quiet from the general media base for him. But then, since he's come to Arsenal, he's just one of the best 10s in the world, I would say. Absolutely lighting it up. And it's good to see, man. As a football fan, it's nice to see that level of ability.
Yeah, because you could argue that he was the best midfielder in the league last season consistently. I mean, there's a few games when he went missing, but apart from that, he was the guy still. Arsenal interesting, and I don't know. I found a couple of things about their game interesting because the position what Declan Rice was picking up weren't the positions that I assumed he would be in. He kept picking up this space on the left-hand side, almost where the number 8 would be. And I'm like, he kind of looks a bit lost, bro. Like, he's recycling the ball, but he's not doing much. But that obviously he's got time to get into the squad and, you know, embed in. But from that particular game, it looked like anyone could have been in that position. They could have put Zinchenko in that position and he would have done the same thing. But the worrying thing was when Nottingham scored their goal, bro, it was so easy, bro. I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a madness still. But Zabir, did you say anything of that Arsenal game, bro?
Yeah, a great point on Odegaard, by the way, Cap. I don't know too many people, you know, recognizing talented youngster and then following through on the, you know, when they peak. But I think on that point, Real Madrid is the peak of most careers. So if you go there too early, you kind of get pushed to the wayside a bit. So you have to go somewhere to, you know, reinvigorate your career. But on the Arsenal game, Savage, with that point with Rice, I think it's just a matter of getting him settled in. I don't think he'll play there majority of the season. And even if he does, he'll figure it out. It's almost like that Xhaka role. I didn't really follow that game, and I put it on and they were winning. I'm like, okay, well, you know, nothing too crazy here, man. Big up Gary, man. yeah, you know what I'm saying? I put it on there winning. I'm like, well, it's not like I expected Nottingham Forest to, you know what I mean, rough them up or surprise them too much. So I wasn't going to sit there and watch all the good points Arsenal, man, I'm going to be chatting about. So
if you watch that game, you'd realize that I know they won the game, bro, but it weren't as easy as it looks, bro.
No. I'm not saying it was easy. Like I said, I just turned it on. It was winning. I'm like, okay, typical Arsenal win. These men are gonna talk about winning the league after the first game.
That's Arsenal for you, man.
They did. You're right. Nottingham did have chances. I caught up on the highlights just before we come on, and Johnson had a chance very early on 1-on-1. You know, and if he takes that, could have been a different story. So
had the same thing for 2 games, though, innit? Because Burnley had the same kind of chances, bro. Didn't put them away. You get murdered against these teams. So I think for the manager, when you go back in the change room, you big up the team and that. Go, listen, you hung with some of the best today, but it's there for you on a plate and it put your chances away. Because not only is it a goal, it changes the momentum of the game as well. Puts them under a bit of, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I think, the only team I didn't play over the weekend was Man U, innit? They're playing tonight against Wolves. Brighton. Let's talk Brighton and then we'll talk Newcastle. And then obviously we'll chop Liverpool up a little bit because we've already done that. But Brighton, that's one game I did watch. And smokage, bruv. Luton looked like a League One team, bruv. Not Championship. They looked League One, bro. They didn't look good at all to me, bro. They looked exactly how I thought they were going to look. I told you, man, about Stinky Luton with the Boss Man Chip Shop Stadium and that, bro. They're not fucking now, obviously, if they go on and beat Liverpool at some point, delete that I just said this. No one ever come back and clip it up. But Brighton, bro, it's one game, so I'll give him that. But I watched him in the Premier League series as well in pre-season. And the one thing I said last season is I'm sure that they'll lose their best players and you won't really see them skip a beat too much because they've been doing this, innit? They lost Basuma, Kukurea the 2 seasons before. Bro, I watch this game and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, you can't really tell that I'd say the mechanics is not in this game at all, bro. They're playing out the skin, man. And there was a kid I was telling ends about the kid before he got subbed on. And he come on, he's just done the madness, bro. I was like, yeah, he's cold. And Cecil was started on the bench. Ferguson just carried on how he was. And this, he'd never stopped running, this kid. I don't know what he's on, bro. They look good, man. Brighton, Zerbi, you heard what he said. He said, I've already forgot about Casado. Let's talk, innit? And he did. What am I saying?
Can I ask you a question, Savage? If you caught the game, because I only seen the highlights. How did the HUGO get on? Because he was in the midfield alongside Pascal, bro. And he come from Dortmund, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I remember him being linked to Liverpool a couple of seasons back, and he looked like he had a bit about him, but it's always hard to sort of evaluate because I know you guys do, but I don't watch a lot of Dortmund games, so I couldn't.
He doesn't play a lot for Dortmund either.
That was my thinking as well. So I couldn't really pick up on the player that he is, but he's in a Brighton team now, and that's probably the perfect team to be in if you are a technically gifted player. So it sounds like he did well though for his first game.
He had a great game, bro.
Yeah.
Very controlled on the ball, very assured of himself, full of confidence, bro. Didn't go over the top with trying too many things and that, but what he did do was play it very simple and easy. And he made when someone makes the game look that easy, yeah, good player, man. So yeah, and all their goals are pretty good, man. Like they were on it still. Obviously, the Luton.
Can I make 2 points on Brighton real quick? You see that Dahoud guy, Cav?
Yeah.
Every time I'm making the case of I don't know how much time I made it to you guys, but I've always made it to other football fans. Like, there's a bunch of men that play the sport at this level. All they need is a bunch of good players around them to really just kind of either fit in or make a name for themselves. And Dahoud, I don't know how he's always on the fringes, just in and around the squad at Dortmund this time. Guy, I rate him. He can go to City and just blend in. He's that quality of a player, and he just plays football, bro. Man don't do the step overs, the coif turn. Man,
simple, isn't it?
man, just go in there, you passing the ball, he's gonna control it with the right amount of cushion, pass it with the right amount of weight, bro. Can't complain about that. And the other case I've always made is the sports is 11v11. And I think soon enough, man is gonna realize Brighton is just 11v11. You don't care about who you got on the bench, depth on the squad, depth on the bench. Brighton is just gonna go out there and play football, bro. It's football, man. Can you control the ball? Can you pass the ball? Can you run into space? That Ferguson, he probably still running savage. Probably got off the pitch.
Ridiculous, bro.
Yo, he probably got off the pitch and just run to the dressing room, just jogging in the spot while the manager's talking.
I don't know.
He look like one of them marathon done still, man. I rate him.
Yeah, he's a problem, bro. He'll be the next one to get brought up. Watch, man. You'll someone try and take him in next season, bro.
Next season.
Yeah, somebody will try and take him soon, and because Brighton at the moment are still a selling club. And I listened to their director of football at the end of last season, and he said eventually we want to stop being that club, but obviously at the moment it's keeping us sustainable and stuff, and we're able to go out and buy other players. And they had brought up the list at the time of how many players they had sold, how much they brought them for, and how much whatever. So I don't know if it was right because they'd got 4 million in it.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so you see the profit they made on. That's one guy, bro. So they've been killing it, man, and they're gonna keep doing this in the conveyor belt until today. This season's gonna be massive for them because obviously they've got European football, which offers more revenue the further they get in it. So, and I think they can shock a few teams. I don't think they're gonna win it or anything like that, but I think they can shock a few teams in there. When you look at the level of the Europa League and who's in there, and the way Brighton play football, listen, they're gonna cause problems, bro, to anyone they play against. So
yeah, when your football is proper, what I would refer to as proper football, on the ground, pass, move, know the pass before you make it. Everybody seems to have chemistry between each other. The movement's great. It's not hit and hope. It's not set pieces. It's not just get the ball in the box. It's not hit it up to a big man and lay it off. It's actual football from the back to the front. Even the goalkeeper's steal is brave on it. I think that level of football, you always do well regardless of who you play. You know, you may not win every game. The quality in the end, when you get to, the latter stages of Europe and stuff, might let you down. There'll be odd games in the league where the quality will let you down, or a mistake, or not even naivety, but maybe a little bit less gamesmanship than some of the top clubs will show. Yeah. That's where you need to make that leap to be in a top 4 club, say, or a title challenging seat. But the football alone and how they play it, they will always be in the game, and they will always be give themselves a good chance of getting a result against any team they come up against. That comes with there was the odd game last season where they got like a bit of a pasting, but not really a pasting. I think there was a couple of games where they lost by a few goals. Yeah,
Everton they got smoked against in it 2 games.
Yeah, I'd put that down to a day off. Yeah.
So I talked to you, man, last season about they need to make that push for well, not necessarily top 4, but just switch from being a selling club. Surely it got to be the end of this season. They finish again in Europa. They got to be like, yo, listen, man, bun that. Man's just not for sale. And try to bring in some more quality and veterans to help them bridge that top 4 gap. Because, bro, they're not far off,
They're not, but we always do this thing. Sorry, just quick.
No.
I feel like we do this thing when we see a club do really well. We start the following season, or we look ahead to the following season and think they have to improve. We've got to recognize Brighton, although they've had a couple, maybe 2-3 good seasons, it's so early, and the club their size, I actually think if they achieve this season what they did last, that's still good. I don't think they need to. Of course, they want to make improvements, but you don't want to go too soon as well. They need to steadily increase. They're making good money with the sale, but at some point they probably will want to improve the training facilities, the stadium to an extent. I'm not sure if the stadium can be expanded, so it might be a new stadium. It has to be a steady growth, because we've seen teams do really, really well for 1 or 2 seasons and then fall off. And I think it's because they perhaps get too far ahead of themselves.
Just going to say that. It's not thingy in it. It's the growth of a football team when you come from being so low down. It's not linear in it. It's like it goes up. There's a bit of a stagnant part. You have to almost go up, be established at, I don't know, between 8th and 10th, up again, be established between 6th and 8th. And it takes, usually them steps are like every 2 to 3 years. Sounds like a ridiculous amount of times, but some teams have only just become established where they're always going to be a Premier League team, where there's other ones that if you're in a relegation zone every single season and you always look like you're going to get relegated, but you was a new team, you're not established yet. You need to get to a certain level. And I think you're right. If they try that now without strengthening the team and fixing everything around them, then even trying to attract players from other countries and stuff like that, it's like, what facilities have you got? And you know what I mean? So at the moment, the way they're doing it means that they'll always be fine within the financial fair play, but doesn't seem to exist. But they'll be fair between that. They're getting great talent. It's less of a risk for them to take a shot at some of these 4 million, 6 million players and stuff like that. If it goes wrong, they can make a little bit more money on them and go on. Obviously, if you're in a big team, you got the fans to deal with, the pressure of being at the big club, all of that stuff as well. But Enz, I know you didn't watch the game because I was in the background watching it, but did you catch the highlights of the game at all?
Yeah, just honourable mention to James Milner playing at right back. João Pedro, put him in my fantasy team, scored a goal. Great. Played well, strong, quick, aggressive. The guy is cold, man. And then Matoma on the other side. It's just business as usual for this guy, bro. He's just killing man over on that left-hand side, bro, making light work of all fullbacks in the Premier League. He'll probably be the next one I think they'll sell. Yeah, I don't know what the price tag will be on him, but
he'll be out of the country as well. He won't be in England.
Well, let's hope so, bro, unless he's going to our club. Because this guy can't go to none of the other top teams, bro. This guy's at Arsenal, Man City, all these kind of clubs. Even at Chelsea as well, bro. It's a problem, man. Can't afford for these guys to go there. But listen, they have great football inside. The manager knows what he's doing. Sold 2 of their best players and still carrying on as if it's normal and back to business. So can they be a bigger club? I don't think so. I think they are who they are. Unless they get the new age type of fans and their fan base isn't that massive. And that's no knock on them. They're just not a big club like that. Would they get the new age? The kids of today maybe jumping over there, depending on the players they sign, depending on who the manager is, and depends on the style of play they have. Maybe they'll get some more fans, but I think they'll just be where they are. They might get a tiny bit better, but I can't see them getting up there with the likes like even Tottenham, for example, because you would probably say they're the lower end of the top clubs. So you got obviously us, Man United, we're the top. Then you have Arsenal just underneath that. Then you would have probably Chelsea, then City alongside that, and then you would have Spurs. Brighton will probably be able to get up to Spurs. I can't see them getting any higher than that. But yeah,
what they need to do is look at not entirely the same, but a team like Leicester. Relegation up and down over the years. Relegation, league title winning. That's crazy. That's an anomaly, right? But a team that was signing good players from Europe for cheap. A lot of them moved on, and then when they got to that top, fighting for top 4, I think they were in the top 4 for a couple of seasons. Then they dropped out at the end, didn't they? And they narrowly missed out. They spent 1 season in it, I believe. But that was at a period where they were a very good scouting club, and they had good facilities, new training ground. The stadium's decent. They get good atmosphere. The clappers are an absolute joke, but hey, they make a good atmosphere. The fan base there, they support the side, and there was that growth there, and it was based on good scouting. I think Steve Walsh headed up some of their scouting. They had 1 or 2 actually that went to Brighton as well, I believe, and got pinched from elsewhere. But they moved away from it and they started to sign players for higher fees, which were bigger risks, and they didn't pay off. And now look where they are. Combined, they had financial issues off the pitch with King Power and stuff to be a Thai-based club. But that, I think you should look at clubs like that when you're having the success and the growth that you're having if you're Brighton, and just think, and that's where I just say it needs to be steady growth. Don't start signing players for 50, 60 million and start going into them regions too soon. Really make sure, because you can lose your staff as well. And they've lost loads. I think
from what you're saying about Leicester, you know what I mean? Learn from their mistakes, isn't it?
I think for me, it's just an outsider looking in. I just think they need to just continue as they're doing for the time being, and then there will come a point where fans expect more, and they'll expect more themselves. But don't run before you. Well, they are jogging; they're running already, but don't sprint at this stage.
They really do have the beauty of being Brighton, and it sounds like a bit rude. I'm not, but like their fans' expectation was to stay in the league all the time, so to shoot from that all the way up the table, now. It's listen, we get to go to Europe. We're over the moon. Maybe in FA Cup and League Cup, let's get further in that competition. We won a day out of Wembley, whether it's the semi-final or the final in it, and then move on from there. Because we saw that obviously Newcastle's a big club, and I'm going to talk about Newcastle now anyway. But we saw that with them. Obviously, there's with the investment and more pressure. But I literally just watched episode 1 of the Amazon documentary with my son, and when there's interviewing all the Newcastle fans, which we know anyway. Most of it was the fact of there was relief to get rid of Mike Ashley in the first place, and the fact that they had their club back and they could start supporting them and enjoying the football. It wasn't about top 4 or Europa League or anything like that. It was like, let's be a start. Remember, Newcastle was struggling with like relegation stuff for a lot of the period. Obviously, Eddie Howe took over when they were 19th in the table, and it had a great end to that season. And then the season after finished in 4th position. So that's the growth. But speaking of Newcastle, all right, nice little segue in that. Newcastle took on Aston Villa. I think a lot of people probably had this down as probably the biggest game on that day and expected something great because how they finished last season. Villa finished great. Emery's a great manager. Eddie Howe's a great manager. People are snobs when it comes to Eddie Howe for some reason, but I don't get it. And we saw how that ended. Villa got smoked, bro. Tyrone Mings, his knees finished. And it's a myth. Shame for him still. I don't like him in it, but I actually felt bad for him because football at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to be hurt. So, tell you what, man, the game started end to end, and it looked like it was going to be more of one of them equal games. Obviously, Diaby scored, Ishak scored, everyone was doing their thing, Tonali scored. And then they got smoked out of the water, bro, and they didn't look like there was any way back. And every time Newcastle attacked, it looked like they were going to score. So, don't know if you watched this game, but if you did, you would have enjoyed the football, man. It was good, bro. It was really good.
I think my concern for Newcastle, they drawn so many games last season, was scoring goals. 11 draws, scoring goals, because defensively they're solid. We've seen that. Botman and Shaw look like a good partnership at the back. Pope's obviously a decent shot stopper. Rifles one in the top corner at some point this season again. Scoring goals because we know Wilson's a good goal scorer, but he gets injured, and they've got Isak, and he is a good forward. He really is. Yeah, did you see? I think it was his second goal. Mistake from Konza, I believe, wins it back off of him, but the dinked finish. Obviously he's already got his first goal, so he's playing with confidence. But he's good, man. And I only really knew about Isak from his international kind of stuff. Always kind of did well for Sweden. Never followed him for his club sides, but kind of always knew there was a bit of a player there. Comes into Newcastle. I think his debut's against us, isn't it? And he scores. And
not only did he score against us, bro. Before he scored an offside goal, exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there like, oh, we got away with that one. Then he roasted it again, man. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, but he's a good all-round forward, I think. He can drop in, but he also plays on the shoulder if he sees the spaces there. But I love his composure in front of goal. Looks like he's so cold in front of goal with his finishing. He'll curl it round, he'll drive it if he needs to. Different types of finishes, not to the elite level that we kind of see Haaland doing and stuff like that, but still very, very good. And if they keep him fit, he's going to be huge for them this season.
He's built like Matip, isn't he?
He's built like Matip, but yeah.
Man says they're like Matip. Disrespect. Nah, man, he's actually smaller in frame still.
Yeah.
But I rate him still, man. I rate him. I think they might need to improve upon my guy there, Almiron, because in the attack, I think he looks like the weakest link that won't be consistent. But let's give a round of applause for man like Tonali, fam, doing the Pep Guardiola crying and acting like, you know what I'm trying to say, like football is over. You know what I'm trying to like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do this in the Prem. Man came in the Prem and made it look easy, fam. I'm like, the fuck? Bro, the man in the middle next to what's his name? Gimaresh. With fucking Joelinton just running around, bro. That midfield three looks scary, fam. Not on paper, but in that game, I'm like, we gotta play these, man. Jesus.
You know I'm gonna test Joelinton for steroids or nothing. No, this is not
Savage.
the same guy,
Savage. Thank you for saying it, fam. The man was at Everton. Was it Everton? Dead food, fam. Man went to Newcastle. I'm like, you know what? Let me just park this striker thing. Let me just go run in the middle. Bullying man, bro. Bullying man. Man look leggy, but still effective. I'm like, how is this possible?
It's crazy.
How is it, bro? Bro, the man is the next one, bro. But Tonali, bro, when he came, I'm like, it's going to take him a while to settle. His head is not in the right place. Man just wiped the tears and went on with football, fam. Man look like he been playing here for years, fam.
Tell you what, though. Diaby look good, man.
Nah, Diaby's cold. I heard a lot of raving about him. He looks cold, but not quite sure what Emery is doing over there. Was Bailey playing as a 8?
I think he's on the wing.
Yeah, because I think they had. Did they play 4-2-3-1? They had Watkins up front, and then they kind of had McGinn, Bailey, and Diaby in behind him.
Yeah, Diaby in behind. Yeah. I mean, Emery knows. I think Emery had Diaby at PSG, innit? But he didn't play often at the time. I know it sounds crazy, but he was there, innit? That's where he was before PSG. No one? No? All right, safe. Maybe.
No, I don't know if you was asking a question, bro. It sounded like you was answering yourself.
Yeah, bro. I thought you was just dropping the knowledge as usual, fam.
I thought you was just answering your own question, bro.
No. Just, you know what I mean. Did you see the highlights of it, man? Or did you watch the game?
Yeah, no, I saw the highlights. I'm gonna be a bit more different than what you guys saw in the game. I just thought Aston Villa played an open game, which made the Newcastle team look better than what they were. I think you're right. Isak, you say his name, played really well. Cold finisher. But apart from that, I think Gordon played okay as well. Joelinton just did his normal running around, which is fine. But I think it was down to the game that, you know, the centre-back pairing between Mings and Kwanzaa, bro, they were doing whatever they were doing. So I need to mark it down when I see them play against a better team on the day. I think Villa made the game too easy for them, so they all look better than what they were. It's like I just watched a Liverpool-Chelsea game and I thought McAllister played well and Chelsea didn't make it easy for us. Where I'm seeing Tonali and Gimares. I'm not saying they're bad players, but I just thought Villa made it way too easy for them to just play. So
on that note, and because I kind of just left it as a question mark here, and I didn't know what Emery was trying to do. But did you think it was more like, yo, go at them? Because it was hard for me to tell what Villa was trying to do. But whatever it is, whether it was an open game or try to be suited Newcastle midfield. Newcastle midfield dealt with that very easily. But I didn't know what Emery was trying to do. I had no idea what he was trying to do, what his setup was like. It just looked weird. So I just put a question mark on that and praise Newcastle.
Do you know what it is? It's similar to what we did yesterday. He tried to play, like you pointed out, tried to play Bailey in a more of a central role, same as us trying to play Gakpo in an 8. Doesn't look right. There's gaps everywhere. Player doesn't look, they're not getting the ball in the right spaces. So it doesn't make sense and the formation doesn't really sync up well. So Newcastle just finding it easy to just play 1-2s around them. And then obviously you got the legs of Joelinton just running around. It was just causing them loads of problems. I think if he kind of stuck with what he normally does, but when Dia getting injured early with the ACL didn't help that cause. I think they're trying to get, who is it that they're trying to get again from Roma? What's his name? When it comes to me, I'll try and remember, but they're trying to get another midfielder from Roma. So but when Dia in the preseason was cold, bro, scoring goals, getting assists, and he was playing on the second striker behind the striker, and he was looking good. And then I think he tried to emulate that with Bailey, and it just weren't working. So they were just getting overrun in the midfield.
Yeah.
But that's
Do you know?
Yeah, carry on. I was gonna say because with what you just said about them.
Zaniolo, that's who they're trying to get. Apologies, Zaniolo, that's the player they're trying to get.
Yeah, the reason for that is because they went in for Jack Harrison from Leeds, and that was almost going to be a done deal and that. And then when they went to go for the medical, there's like, nah, they're worried about him and his injuries as well. So they said just allow it. So now he's going to Everton, and they're trying to get them. But one thing I will say,
Harrison's gone Everton, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll give some grace to Newcastle. To Villa. They weren't shit all game, bro. Like there wasn't terrible all game. Newcastle broke them down, bro. At the beginning of the game, Villa looked better than Newcastle, bro. It was once the goals started going in, bro, and then Newcastle stepped up their attack. That's when they started going. They weren't like terrible from the beginning of the game. They was actually cooking. Obviously, Conde made a mistake for the Ishak goal, and normally Mings is good when it comes to headering the ball away and clearances and stuff like that, blocking it. And Conde's more the relaxed one. He wasn't very good, and that's not usual for him. But as a whole, it weren't like Newcastle man for man just destroyed them from the start to the finish. But as the game crept on, especially after half time, Newcastle stepped it up, and that's when they done them damage, man. And Newcastle in the counter attack is their problem.
Yeah.
They move the ball so quick, bro.
A lot of their goals came from crosses. You'd be like, well, the defense has to deal. I think pretty much all their goals. The first one was the Gordon dinked into the box and Tonali was arriving. It's like the centre backs there just letting man drift into the box and getting volleys. Made no sense. And then they squared up 2 passes, bro. I'm like, so where's the rest of the team? Where's the defense? It's not like they played exciting football and cut the team open, and that's the way it kind of sounds. And I'm like, nah, that's not what happened, bro.
Nah, man, I promise, bro. If you only
didn't
watch
cut
the
it,
highlights,
Nah, ends. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
I'm talking from
most of the chances they miss. Most of the chances they miss. I don't know if they made the highlight, but there was some chances where they actually cut Villa open, fam. When I say cut him open, I'm like, yo,
and then
cut him up, fam.
The 2 defenders, Kwanzaa there trying to ball roll the ball, leaving it behind. Mings gets substituted at halftime, get him out of here. Hey, it's long, bro. And then the manager trying to play Bailey in a attacking midfield role, and he's not an attacking midfield. Sounds like Klopp, bro. Trying to play Gakpo in the 8 makes no sense.
No, don't do this, ends, because I want Emery next still.
Do you know when they played Diaby in that sort of 8-10 off the striker, call it what you will, right? Whenever I see a winger being played more centrally, I always think back to when we did it with Sterling. You remember when we had Suarez and Sturridge, and it was a bit different because he played in behind the 2. But that's the first time, not the first time I've seen it, but the first time I've seen it work well, where you have a speedy player who has had good close touch control. And you would have initially thought was a winger or an inside forward, but they played him more centrally and gave him a license to find pockets and turn and use that pace to drive. And that's where whenever I see a winger being deployed in that kind of role, I always think that's the potential that it has. Because cast your mind back to when Sterling was doing that to us before he moved to Man City, he was tearing it up. He was doing exceptional in that position. So I don't mind it when I see it, because I've seen it pay off with Sterling, and I think if a player's got good close control, awareness around him, and he's pacey, why not try him a bit more centrally? But more often than not, it doesn't work out. It sounds like it didn't work out at the weekend for Diaby.
Yeah. All right, man. Listen, let's give 5 minutes to Liverpool, Chelsea, because obviously the whole weekend's they're full of Liverpool content talking about that. So didn't hear Zabiri's views on it. Didn't really hear Cavs. I heard a bit of yours on Red Fellas, but I didn't hear apart from that, because you know what it's like, bro. Waiting for you to get back around to speak is long. So it's long, bro. You know what I mean? Just being honest on that. But Zabiri, didn't hear your views on it. So the Liverpool chat, just an overhaul of what you felt about the game in general.
It's in moments like this where a retraction is needed, but I'm gonna double down, bro. Gakpo on the 8 can work.
He's gonna say that.
Gakpo on the 8 can work, but it wasn't for this game. I thought man was gonna put Gakpo through the middle, and I'm not quite sure Jota marshaled the front line very well. Still, I'm not gonna blame him, but I'm just saying like what I expected from the lineup. I don't think the lads backed themselves throughout the entirety of the game. Even Salah getting subbed off. It was good to see. It was good to see the manager not saying, "Look, bro, the minutes in your contract is valid for this season." He was like, "Nope, that was last season. On to different things." So I kind of like that. The entire game, I thought it was good. It's Chelsea. drawing against Chelsea, I'm not going to be moaning about a draw against Chelsea. We've been drawing Chelsea for the longest. So I think it was a good opening day result. I think it's a great away result. We didn't lose. Would have been nice to keep the clean sheet, but then that'll be a 0-0 draw, and that's boring. So very great first goal. Salah had a bunch of chances. Thought he could have did better with his quality. Nunes, I think, took a little bit too long to come on the pitch. I'd have rather see Nunes and Gakpo on the pitch. But then, credit to the manager, he's shaking things up. So, I'm like I said, it's nothing to moan about. I don't want to say, oh, Gakpo on the 8 doesn't work. It does work. It's just, I think it's for certain games, not all games. And I don't think it was on for this game because Chelsea, they had the strength in midfield. And I think there was a disconnect between our midfield where Sabazilai was constantly running out wide. He's only in the middle, basically on attacking play. Gakpo was doing the leg thing midfield to attack. So he gets leggy real quick. McAllister, I don't think he was dropping deep in like a defensive shape to be more effective defensively. But controlling the play and distributing the ball, I think he did very well. So that's basically my take on it, man. Defense, I look back on their goal. That's what you want your defense to do. First header gets cleared. You know what I'm trying to say? You step up, but they stepped up and lost the second ball. Second ball, played my man through, and you finished it away beautifully. So I can't really complain about Chelsea goal. It's just one of them ones, man. If you look at the defense, the shape, they all stepped up in the right manner. It's just they should have got that second ball, and then there was no one close to him. Gakpo wasn't even close to him, but then again, that's not what you want Gakpo. So I'm trying to say.
If everyone stepped up the same as Virgil, they would have been offside. They didn't.
I think Trent was probably the last guy back there. Not to like blame him, but I think that's what it is. But if you look at look at the second ball. Look at the second ball. The second ball, Gakpo is standing in the box. Probably about 2-3 yards from that guy. If that was a midfielder or an out and out 6, he would probably be a little bit closer to that guy.
Agreed.
So I'm trying to say. So it's like you can't say, oh, well, Gakpo doing that. Oh, that's where he's supposed to be. It's just he doesn't have that defensive, awareness to be like, yo, I'm the guy picking up this guy. He's more like, yo, when I get it in this space, I'm out of here. So I think that the mindset of our midfield wasn't quite right for this opposition. And it's not to blame our midfield that we put out there. It's just these guys aren't that type of guy. Like McAllister dropping inside your 6-yard box, tracking runners of their midfield, and Gakpo doing the same. You can't ask these men to do that. They've never really done that. So that's just what it is, man. I'm not saying Klopp got it wrong. I think we're still in preseason phase. I'll start being a little bit more critical of far as how they set up after the international break, because after that, you should iron out all these kinks, and we move. So hopefully we don't lose any more games, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, well, we didn't lose the game, we drew, so we got the point from Stamford Bridge. Could have done better, you know what I mean? And what I said in the game and before the game is what I assumed would happen, which is when they asked Trent after the game, he said we thought we started well in that, but he said, listen, we set up to face them in a different formation, and they used a different one. And as soon as I saw that formation, I was like, we're gonna get overrun on the wings now because they're gonna double up, which they did. And once he got into a certain part of the game, Reece James and Sterling would just love him they're just 1-2 in the ball around Robbo, and he couldn't do anything about it. That's the only part where, because I agree with you in the fact that I don't want Gakpo in the 8, but he can play there. He can play there, but I don't want him there. But you realize very fast of who's a midfielder when them situations where Robbo's getting doubled up on and he's not getting no help, and he wasn't. And don't get me wrong, Diaz has to help him as well, but Gakpo's closer to him and he's not helping him. And I was in man in the chat while I was watching the game, dissing Robbo for it. And I'm like, what? It's a 1-2, bro, and they're just gonna keep doing that around him. Like he has to decide to go to one guy. They're gonna rondo the ball around him, and that's how they kept getting in. But that was for like 15 minutes. Got better the second half. Cap?
Okay, let's take it back. The lineup for me I was okay with. It was fine. I'd have preferred to have seen Curtis Jones in there. We spoke about him in the preseason a fair bit, and towards the end of last season, I felt like we've got new players in this team. and it's a new system. Implemented it 10 games towards the end of last season. But one of the shining lights out of the system was Curtis. You know, he has played left side in the midfield in the 4-3-3. He now played as a left-sided 8 in the new system. I thought offensively he was great. You know, seemed to be moving the ball a bit quicker, and then he did all the usual attribute. You know, fulfilled his usual attributes, where he's neat, tidy, linking up well. Footwork is great and getting better, and then contributed with goals. And then defensively, he did his part as well. He was often the trigger for the press, and he was the man that was getting everybody else to go with him. And I felt like he went away to the tournament that he played in the summer, played in a slightly different role, but played really well. Didn't have much of a preseason because of that tournament. He come back late, only got a few minutes in the sort of last preseason game, I think it is.
Yeah.
But when you're still implementing a new system and you've got new players in the side, I think you just have to try and get as much consistency as you can. And I think by putting Curtis in there, you've got a bit more consistency than trying out Gakpo in the 8 again. I feel like Curtis could have done it. I think, but looking at the lineup, seeing Gakpo in the 8, it's understandable. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. It's just my opinion of going into it. I felt in the game, the reason that I'm optimistic about the season is because of what I think we're capable of. And we've seen that in the first half an hour.
Yeah.
So even without a natural defensive-minded number 6, you can still see that if we control the ball and we're calm on it and we're controlled and we link up and the chemistry is there, that actually we can nullify a lot of it because we'll have the possession so much more. And we know with the attacking flair that we've got now and variety that we can score goals. I think that the defense will improve on what they achieved last season. So that's where my optimism came. But then it changed after half an hour, and I've got to be honest. I'm perfectly fine with Chelsea dominating periods of the game. They're at home. They're a good side. You know, they're a new side, but they've still got good players in there. And I think we'll see as the season goes on that actually a point away at the Bridge isn't a bad result. But it was too dominant for me. It was too dominant. And this new players to Liverpool, yes. A new system, yes. But it's a new manager for Chelsea. It's new players for Chelsea. I get they've got home advantage, but they shouldn't have dominated for 60 minutes. And for me, they did. We had moments, but they didn't create as many chances as they possibly like. But just in the balance of play, the control and the possession that they had and how they was easily moving it between our lines and linking up 1-2s, triangles. We couldn't really get near them for large portions of that game. That was too much for me. And that's where when Klopp made the changes that he did, it improved. But I think moving forward, we might just need to, obviously we need a 6, right? As a team, we need to improve overall in how we press and our compactness. If you're going to press high up the pitch, fine, go together. If you're going to drop off, fine, cover each other and cover the passing lanes and cover the lines, be compact deep, fine. We find ourselves doing neither. And I think it will improve, but too many individual presses just leaving gaping holes in behind them and things. This is what we've seen last season. So we need to improve that. The coaches need to improve that. I think it will improve. But my overriding reaction is I know it's fine, but my emotional reaction is I wanted better. Our first half an hour was great. I didn't expect that for 90, but then it needed to be a 50-50 game for me to go, okay, that's understandable, but it weren't. It was a 60-30 game, if that makes sense.
I feel like if you're a Liverpool fan, you will want better in it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like there's parts in that game where it's like either one could have took the victory and snatched it from the other person. But if Chelsea snatched the victory from us, I think it would have been more understandable because they played a little bit better in that second half. And obviously, one of the things I noticed was, especially towards the end of the first half and then the second half, what you're talking about with that is the press, man. The press wasn't right, bro. You know what I mean? It was a bit too slow every time. And that's how people will start rondoing the ball around you in little passes quick. So it felt like it was late to every press, like until they made the sub and like Curtis and that came on. Because it changed then. Curtis and Harvey were getting to the press a lot quicker. Nunes was getting to it a lot quicker, whereas everyone else, it was a little bit laboured, a little bit slow. And obviously, when you do that, you almost like, you might as well just sit back a little bit then if you're going to do that because you're looking silly and they're taking you out the game with these passes, bro. And obviously, not to mention, Enzo was playing like he had won the World Cup, bro. Like he was just every time in the midfield, little turn, gone, and you couldn't get the ball off him. And that's where it was next, isn't it? But listen, there's positives. I guess there's positives from Chelsea.
There is.
Away, but obviously
Yeah.
for them, they're probably thinking probably should have won this game. And for us, there's positives as well. But it gave me the feeling of the Real Madrid game, but without losing. So we started like that in the Real Madrid game. We battered them for 20 minutes, and then they scored, and it was the end of the game. So it's...
I think one of the lessons I take away, and I'm not sure if you guys will agree, is I think against top sides, and we're going to learn a lot about the players, so I'm not going to draw any conclusions. But if we were playing another, say Newcastle, right, in a few weeks' time, I would quite like to see Trent in the midfield and play Gomez at right back. Because I think Trent in midfield, we've seen it in the final 10 games of last season. He dominated the midfield, controlled it, the tempo with his passing. His defensive work was better because he was enjoying his football more. He was more aggressive. He was tracking back. And Gomez gives you that solidity at right back as well. And I feel like that's one thing. In fairness, he did make the changes yesterday, and you can't make all the changes. He brought Curtis on, he took Salah off, so he tried. But that might have been one change that I think would have helped us both defensively, because you've got Gomez out there, and Chilwell was playing well. I know James had a good game, but Chilwell did as well. Gomez would have dealt with, although I thought Trent was good defensively yesterday, Gomez would have matched what Trent was offering us defensively. But by putting Trent into the midfield, I think that would have helped us regain control of that midfield as well. So I think against the top sides, that's one where I think we can maybe use the squad a bit better. Put Gomez in at right back and just put Trent in that midfield. Because not that Trent was bad by any means, I just think the midfield needed help. And that's one guy that I think could have helped it, if you know what I mean. So
I agree, because I think for my overriding feeling about Trent yesterday was he was way better defensively than he was going forward. In the first half, he was good going forward and his passing. Second half, his passing was off, but his defending was really good. But listen, I think there's positives to take, like I said, from whatever fan you are. And there's stuff to work on for both teams as well, because as well as Chelsea got through quite easy against us, we have to look at it from that point of view because we're Liverpool fans. But the way we were cutting them open in the first 35 minutes of the game, they must have been like, what the hell's going on? But I tell you what, man, Gallagher played great, bruv. Like I didn't expect him to play like that in that position. I know he's a great footballer, but not in that position. But he tied his hair back and said, "Oh, I'm not doing the long hair business anymore." Tied it back and he just got to business, but he was working still. So, but and last feeling of like day after now, you slept on it. Overriding feeling about the game, bro.
I slightly disagree. Not all what Kev said. Some of it, I think we need to listen to what Klopp said as well in pre-season, and what he did say. We need to become a bit more difficult to beat defensively. And what I'm noticing is when we go away from home against a big team, from just that game, we're going to offer up possession to the opposition and let them play and then try and catch them on the counter. Yes, we weren't ready for the tactics that they deployed in the game with Reece James as a wing back and Chilwell as the other wing back. So it kind of counteracted what we wanted to do. But I noticed in the game, it wasn't that we weren't trying to match Chelsea. We were just like, nah, let's just work on what we said we were going to do. Be stronger defensively. Make sure we don't offer up, too much spaces for them to do it. But yet the formation was causing us problem. And it was more spam crosses from Reece James. I think there was one time when, what's the striker's name? He got in and had a shot. And a couple of times on a counter-attacks in transition. Other than that, it was what it was. We dealt with what we needed to. Trent did what he needed to do over on his right hand side. See Virgil marshal out a lot of the guys. Ibu played really well, and a lot of times we nicked the ball with McAllister just nicking the ball off players. I just think it was us not being able to then use that and go forward after Chelsea started getting into the game. I don't feel we started like with Jota not holding the ball well. Gakpo couldn't really find a spot where he needed to kind of occupy in the midfield. Where in the first 20 to 35 minutes is like we got the right balance between the defense and the attack and being compact. And then I think after Chelsea then imposed himself, we found ourselves good defensively, even though they were creating what you'd say chances. But that's why you have a goalkeeper in goal, and that's why you have defenders to be there to block it as well. Because we did the same thing. We just didn't know how to keep doing what we were doing, but also affect us going forward as well. I think that was the issue. And that's why it looked like in the second half, we weren't really in the game. And I think that's where Klopp tried to make the changes to kind of offer up, okay, look, we're okay defensively at the moment, but we are offering nothing going forward. We're not holding the ball. The ball just keeps coming back. And that's because you touched on it as well, Savage. The press wasn't right. We were triggering it at the wrong time.
Right.
And players, Jota wasn't on it, Gakpo wasn't on it. And then it was like we were lopsided. So everything, we started off the game and everything was like down the left-hand side. Diaz was just cooking man down there. And then as the game went on, we started going to the right. And that was because we didn't have the balance over on that left-hand side. I don't know if it was, Sterling dropping in that little pocket and then Gakpo not dropping back to kind of cover it. I don't know if that was the case. But you could clearly see Szoboszlai, Trent, and Salah had the other side on smash. Because I openly said on the watch-along, normally what they did on the other side is what we normally see they do throughout the whole season on Trent's side. Pure 1-2s, long balls over there, and then they just try and cook up on that right. But they couldn't do it. Every time they tried to do it, Trent either won the ball, marshal it out, or if not, Ibu was there as well. So
Reece James,
James
and Sterling, they go heavy on that side, man.
Yeah, no, I honestly just feel like I felt like you might see this more often. I think we're playing a lot more compact, or we're trying to be a lot more, not say harder to beat, because teams will still create chances. This is Premier League, this is professional football. We're not going to stop every chance. Teams are going to still get chances. Yes, we would like to cut out majority of them and maybe nullify them down to 1, maybe 2, but it's still Premier League football and it's still Chelsea. If I see the same thing against Bournemouth, for example, then we have an issue. But I guarantee you, we'll be a lot more attacking, because we won't be trying to defend as much. It's a home game as well, so we have to then be in the ascendancy. I just felt like we gave up the possession, but we just weren't able to find a balance from the defense going forward again in that second half. And I think Chelsea just kept winning, especially with Jota, man. He couldn't hold on to the ball, and that doesn't help when your striker can't hold the ball to get your team up the pitch, in my opinion.
But sorry. I hear it, and I don't want to be reactionary. And I asked this question last night. When I look at it in black and white, right, as plain as it can be, Poch with that squad and Klopp with our squad, how were they able to dominate for a large portion of that game?
Tactically, it's not to say that their players are any better than our players. It's the fact that when you're able to have 3 at the back, and then Jota is up there on his own, and then you have the transition and the double ups on the right hand side and the left hand side, you tend to hold the ball a lot longer, so it looks like you're in more control of the game. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it will make it look that way. The first 25 to 30 minutes, that was not the case. We didn't care Reece James were there. A lot of the times Reece James and Chilwell weren't even tracking back. But as soon as they got a foothold, they got the goal, the scrappy goal, and then they were able to kind of settle themselves down and then start working those triangles. If Liverpool would have probably changed their formation, we probably wouldn't have seen none of that. And that's what you saw when Curtis Jones came on. That whole double up with Reece James stopped working. Robbo was more, he could impose himself better in the game. Look, I do understand it. We want to see better from our team. But you have to understand, sometimes we have to pay attention to what the manager says as well. And he said we need to be better as a unit defensively, and that's what I'm seeing. I've noticed that Salah is no longer like hugging the touchline. Diaz, Salah, and Jota are trying to be a lot closer together. The midfield are a lot closer together, and the defense is a lot closer together. We're not spread apart like we normally were, and we were just getting caught out left, right, and center. I'm not saying in moments we weren't getting caught out, but that happens in transition in football. There's moments, if you like Trent did a loose pass in midfield, a simple 1-2 between him and McAllister, and it was Colwell won it and just played the long ball down the line. People will be like, oh, look how we got caught out down there. Well, if Trent played the pass properly, that doesn't happen. And these are the kind of little fine details of things that I'm looking at, and maybe not everyone else is, but that's just me.
I agree with you, Enz. Sorry. Now, I agree with what Enz is saying as far as his analysis of the game. The double up on the wings. If you watch, well, not watch the game back because that'd be wrong, but their tactics wasn't even controlling the middle of the pitch. It was just finding the guys on the double up. So it was just bare long balls to the wings. If you watch it, so it basically bypassed our midfield. So you look at him like, yo, well, this midfield isn't working. Yeah, because they're just spraying it out to the wings. And then from getting it to the wings, they do the little 1-2s, and they're somewhat in or somewhat looking like a threat. But the majority of it, man, is just constantly bypassing our midfield. So even when we try to press Enzo, when he does a little shimmy and go around the one guy, it's not like he's driving with the ball or they're making some elaborate plays to the middle of the park. They don't do none of that yesterday. he finds a bit of space, and then he sprays it out to the wide. When you're playing like that, it's really difficult to contain them because they're always going for the long ball. So even if we're pressing, by the time we get within 2-3 yards of them, it's a long pass. So once they start playing like that, you as a midfielder, you have to be, okay, where is he going? And they always had space down the wing, always, because they're doing that double up thing because they had the 3 at the back. So what we did need in that game, like Ed said, was a striker that can get the ball, hold on to it until the midfield and the attacking wide players get up the pitch. And that wasn't on for us yesterday. So because that wasn't on for us, it looked like we didn't have control of the game, and it looked like we're getting dominated. It's just we couldn't impose ourselves because our striker wasn't able to hold on to it. In the first 35 minutes, man, I think it worked well. It's just it wasn't consistent for the 90 minutes. So it's just one of those ones where, like I said, I agree with Ends, where Klopp look at it and go like, well, the underlying task of being hard to beat worked. It's we weren't able to impose ourselves from the midfield to attack. So when we do win the ball back, what are we doing with it? If you look at our goal, it goes from like, I want to say Sabazalai back to Ali or Ibu to McAllister to Salah. Like that was almost like a transitional goal, like almost like a counter-attacking goal, if you will. It wasn't like no great patterns of play in their half and then a goal came from it. And then if you look at that being our only shot on target, it kind of just sums up the game from what their tactic was and what ours was. They have a more attacking tactic. We had a more defensive tactic. Like I don't know if it was the home and away tactic setup, but that's basically what it is. So I won't look at this and be like, yo, with his squad, how was he able to do that? And with our squad, we should be able to do that. It's just the two different tactics. It's almost suit each other. We had midfielders that wasn't switched on defensively to know like, okay, when these long balls come in, I need to get back and help up with this double up. When Jones came on, well, he was definitely on that. Like, men saw that on the bench and was like, all right, I know what to do. I understand the assignment. And once Klopp made those switches, they look a bit meaty playing against Chelsea away. You're like, wait, Dork, Curtis, okay, what's going on here? But it actually worked, man. I'm not.
That's because Harvey's going to work his ass off and always press.
Exactly. So that was the difference, man. I feel like
it was natural to Curtis's game, and let's be honest, man. We don't really have an excuse because if we did that for the first 35 minutes, then you know what I mean. Basically, we should have took our chances on it, man. There's different ways to look at the game. If we took our chance in the first half, Chelsea don't have the impetus to go on and do what they did. But once I said this before, like there's this mentality thing. Once we let a team score against us, there's always 10 minutes when we're rattled. We're rattled for 10 minutes after it, and all you need to do is I could see Alisson. They had their first chance after we scored. After they scored, and then Alisson was telling everyone to calm down because you don't need. Like, what are you doing? Like, once the team scores past us, you don't need to go back and get the goal back straight away. There's a whole game left. Just relax, take the sting out of the game a little bit, then go again. As soon as you go gun ho, what happens is everyone starts pressing really fast to try and get the ball back. They're not doing it at the right times. Enzo just drifts past you, not just him, Gallagher as well. All of a sudden, past the whole midfield. What pass do I make? They're looking between the gap and where Virgil and Robbo is, looking for the other side. We'll just play it there. And obviously, they had the spare man on that side because they were making the mistakes in the first bit of the game. That's why when Salah played the ball to Diaz for his goal, James was doing nothing, bro. Like, he was doing nothing at all, bro, because they were terrible. But once they got the little chance and they've realized, oh, Gakpo and Diaz, you're not going to help out Robbo. Safe. We'll stay over here and we'll just 1-2 the ball around you all game, bro. Yeah. We did that for half time.
And this,
real quick. I don't know how true this is, but what I saw when they scored their second goal that got ruled out offside. Before it got ruled out, I did not like the mentality of the squad. If we go 2-0 down, I think that's game over. If we can see 2 goals, I think it's game over because in that moment, every head dropped. And I'm looking at Virgil and the camera panned to him, and I think he was like fiddling with his socks or something. I don't know if we're going to have the right mentality to come back from a 2-0 down. And I'm glad it got ruled out, but that'll be an interesting one to see. I don't think we have the mentality to fight back from a deficit. So that's one to keep an eye on. It's just off body language because once the goal got chalked off, I see the energy kind of come back, like the life came back to all the players. But in that moment, man, when Chilwell walked through it, I was like, Jesus Christ. bro, everyone just looked deflated. Like, yo, what do we do here? It just looks like unfamiliar territory. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't like the look of this, man. So we'll keep an eye on that, man. But hopefully we don't concede 2 goals.
That's why I said it felt like Real Madrid, because that's what happened. Once they scored again, and I'm like, what the? So I was obviously happy that it was offside. But listen, it's first game of the season. I'm not going to pretend like it's the end of the world. We got a point. They got a point only as well. We've seen everything that we need to improve on. The players need to know to do better, and we had enough chances to win the game. Whether we would have deserved to win or not, I don't give a damn about it anyway, bro. Because if I go away with the 3 points, we deserve to win. And I saw enough chances. Not Salah hitting the crossbar and that. That was a shot. What was a great shot. But there was other chances. Szoboszlai asking for the ball from Salah. The pass, what Diaz was on, didn't pass it. Gakpo got through, and instead of shooting, he passed it to Salah, but the pass ain't even good. And then Salah has a slipper foot shot. So there's enough chances to win the game. Nunes nearly scored, and he took a deflection. Then their goalkeeper Sanchez runs off the line. The ball comes out to McAllister. The pass was actually not good to Nunes at all. But Nunes' control wasn't the best either. And I'm like, we could have scored there as well. So that's like 4 or 5 chances there. That score 3 of them. They're not coming back in the game. You know what I mean? And we have to. I don't mind. Alisson's part of our team in it. So when people go, "Oh, you just drew or you just won because of your goalkeeper," well, yeah, he's part of our team. That doesn't affect me. But there's parts where I saw Chelsea going through, especially Jackson when Mudryk went round Alisson as well. I'm just like, bro. And it was Konate on both of these incidences. He was doing this thing where like they played the long ball and it's just 1 versus 1 in it. And he's almost gambling on the fact that, don't worry, I'm fast enough. So when you try and make this run, I'm going to catch you, bro. And he slowed down. And then Jackson just carried on running, bro. And if Alisson doesn't come out for the ball as quick as he does, that's a goal twice, bro. And then there was one when obviously Trent slid and he cleared it before he went in because it would have been an open goal at that point. So have to be more careful. But listen, Liverpool, that's enough thought there. And that. I'll quote through the rest of the results quickly. And then we'll move on to the news. I don't know who watched because I don't know how many people watch German football in it, but they had the DFL Cup. It's their Super Cup, obviously their Charity Shield. Bayern Munich versus Leipzig. Harry Kane, the curse continues, and Carvalho picks up his first trophy. They got outfought in this game, but I don't understand. They had enough chances, but on the counter-attack, they got cut open every single time, bro. The way he was just talking about Liverpool in that 10 minutes, it was Bayern Munich in the whole game, and it only felt like Sane was playing good, and everyone else was just poor. Obviously, happy for Carvalho, got his little trophy and that. But
wait a minute, Savage. Sorry to interject on the world football breakdown segment. You said Harry Kane, the curse continue. Carvalho picks up his first trophy.
Yeah, it's a great headline, isn't it? I should be a journalist. It's a great headline. The curse continues, bro. We thought it was Tottenham, but he's gone by and they lost him a trophy, bro. Nah, it's not Harry Kane's fault.
No. Obviously, yeah, we know it ain't his fault. But what are the odds this is the one season Bayern don't lift a trophy?
Bro, the whole time I'm saying to my son, Harry Kane's gonna go there. He's gonna get a trophy within a couple of hours. Tottenham. Then my son went, "No, Leipzig's gonna beat Bayern Munich." And I looked at the scores like, "Oh God damn it, man! This is just shit. Kane can't buy one." And listen, there's funny parts in that game, innit? One thing I picked up, which I don't know why I find it so funny. Harry Kane, yeah, they're asking for a penalty Bayern, innit? Harry Kane,
and he's there
arguing with the referee, and then he just stops, and then like he kind of slowly steps back, like, "Yeah, I can't speak German still." And he just doesn't try anything. Carvalho actually, he came on for about 13 minutes. He played good when he came on. Got his trophy, but one thing I saw is, and I know it's early doors, so I can 100% be wrong. It's just an opinion. He ain't coming back to Liverpool ever, bro. He ain't coming back, bro. I saw too much togetherness in that short space of time. The dancing.
He's on loan, innit? That's why Klopp pushed for the loan instead of an option to buy, bro. It's only a loan. He has to come back.
What will happen is he'll come back and then Leipzig will buy him.
150 million, no problem.
Yeah. But yeah, Bayern got smoked.
Then he'll go Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of how it is, man. Obviously, I know that everyone else here doesn't watch the women's football now, but England.
Imagine Tottenham wins the League Cup.
You know what I mean? Oh, well, what kind of sexism is this? I'm talking about the Women's World Cup and you want to talk over it. What's going on?
Sorry, bro.
No,
I just see it was in my head. I was thinking out loud.
No, oh god damn it! Respect the line. That's so basically you was ignoring them in your head as well. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, nah.
Listen, the
You
line.
listen, you told me the goalkeeper. Listen, you told me the goalkeepers are too short.
Don't even start, bro.
Oh, let's just hold on. No, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. No.
Listen, ends. Stop, innit? Just stop. England beat Colombia 2-1. Made it to the semi-finals of the World Cup. It's massive because they're the European champions, and the men can't do it, bro. That's a fact. So I'm respecting it. I'm watching the games. I'm rooting for the team. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying, bro.
I don't know.
The next game against Australia. It's hosting Australia and New Zealand, so they're playing against the host Sam Kerr and that. Yeah, man. It's gonna go down. I'm looking forward to it. That game's on Wednesday. For people that don't tune in, if you want to tune in and support your country in Wagwan, because certain man ain't even out here watching Jamaica games or England, so it's fine. And then you know what I'm saying. So it's one of them, bro. But that's just, facts are facts. It's not my fault, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Let's get to the dreaded news, because you know how that goes. Yes, sir. Hangover news, transfers, and all that good stuff, and all the sports from around the world, which ain't much because it's trash right now, early seasons. But it ends on the video earlier. Yeah, man. Listen, before we came on, there was our Lavia deal agreed, 60 million. While we've been on, Chelsea jumped back into the race for Lavia, and now they look favourites to get him over Liverpool, even though deals was agreed not long ago. So I've obviously, if people want to get their content. I ain't mad at it, man. Feed your kids in it. But I think the lesson will be learned that every time it says fee agreed when it comes to Liverpool, it might not be agreed in that, bro. But basically, they're saying at the moment it's based down to his relationship with I think it's Joe Shields, who's is the person who got him to go to Southampton from Man City in the first place. So they got a relationship. He's at Chelsea now. They've entered the race. I don't think they've bidded any more money than 60. So I think they're leaving it up to the player to choose. It is what it is at the moment because we don't know. So I hope we get him. I really do, because I think he's a top player. And I think he can be even better in the future. But it's kind of all drawn out on me, man. At this point, I'm just going to wait on it and see what happens. Because judging on how Charles played yesterday and the way Enzo was playing, and they've got Caicedo now as well for 115 mil. Listen, they're going to take all the midfielders and then, we're linked to Sangara. I see that at the moment, but that doesn't mean too much to me because we've been linked to everyone and they ain't a Liverpool player yet. So don't know how everyone feels about all of that news and stuff like that. Anyone care? Just waiting.
It just feels, it feels like, that meme I always play about everybody come inside. Feels like that's what these men are doing because all the players, it feels like it's a little, little slave market.
What you say, Chelsea's the master? Well, come on in.
Yeah, listen, bro. All I'm seeing is Fair Black Don just sliding into that team, bro. What is going on, bro? These are the building the ultimate Black Stars or something. I don't know. But,
yeah,
bro, I'm tired of this guy, man. Let's go. I want to go and get Thuram now, man. Forget this Donny, bro. I'm fed up of all these dickheads that don't want to join Liverpool. I want players that want to play for us. Yeah, man, bun him as well now, man.
To be fair to the kid, from what everyone knows,
bun him as well.
He said that he wanted to go to Liverpool and they didn't take him. So
no, I'm not doing this. I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, because we offered for another player, that means we left the other one alone. How does that even make sense when you're trying to buy midfield? Did McAllister feel that way did Szoboszlai feel that way when we bidded for McAllister?
What I'm saying is the opposite to what you're saying. Forget the fact that we went in for Caicedo. Liverpool still didn't buy Lavia at the price they were asking.
Yeah, I know, I hear you, but we're still bidding for midfielders. My problem is that we're bidding for midfielders. It doesn't matter if we go and bid for another one. It doesn't mean that we don't want you. It just means we're bidding for other players, bro. If we bid it for 3 players, all of them are gonna go, I don't want to join because I'm not your first choice. No, we need midfielders, bro. So we're bidding for midfielders. We're trying to get a midfielder in or 2 midfielders in.
I agree with that exact point you're saying, because I was saying this with when it was the Caicedo thing. Everyone kept going, how's Lavia going to feel? Now I'm like, bro, what does it matter, bro? Like, it's 2 players. You know what I mean? As far as he knows, we're trying to get both of them. What I will say is, since that bid, the last one he had, there hasn't been another one. So for that player, he can still have if Liverpool can have their choice on whether they want to get him or not, Lavia can have the choice on what team he wants to choose. Now,
that's fine.
Yeah, and I don't know anything, so there's no point me going. I'm not going to say bun Lavia, and then it comes out that when Lavia signs for us something, he's having his interviews like, nah, that's not what happened. Then I'll be just dissing him for no reason. All I'm saying is that
on him, bro. Except I need to hear if you're serious about Liverpool. As soon as the fee gets agreed, I need to hear, yeah, man, I'm coming to Liverpool. Fee, I've agreed personal terms.
Yeah, but then you can say same point for Liverpool. If you're serious about Lavia, pay the money, and it will be our player.
Which we did though. We're paying more than what we did before.
We didn't pay the asking price. We didn't pay.
Yeah, but listen, at that time, because Chelsea upped the price, so we had to then up the price if we wanted to get the player. No, we were trying to negotiate.
We didn't pay the asking price when Chelsea wasn't involved.
No, I'm not saying we offered that, but I'm saying the reason why we have to pay this price now because Chelsea offered 55. That's why we've come back in with 60.
But just let's be honest and not take it out of context, because it seems like not you guys, but it seems like majority of the fans process the information based off the last bid, and then they go and draw that to the first bid. The asking price was 50. I'm not going to fault the club or the way we do business in trying to get them under the price, but the risk of trying to get them under the price is you might invite another club to come in and hijack the deal. Now the deal got hijacked. Now you're paying way above the asking price. You look a bit stupid because it's like, well, if you had just paid the asking price to begin with, business would have been done. Okay, that's great. The other point now is, well, we both know, or we all know, we have at least 115 at our disposal. What I would like to see now is my manager going, I don't like this guy agent, but I rate the guy. Let me just go grab him anyway. Kept from Toronto. Bring the guy in, man. Let's stop all this humming and ah about the right mentality. And bro, Tonelli showed me mentality is second nature. Football is the first thing. If you need a man to come in and play football and he's of the quality, fuck the mentality, man. Fuck how a man feel whether he wants to come or not come, bro. I'm more disappointed in certain men who got the go ahead from the club, but sit on his ass and not go and do the medical till another club claim in. That's what I'm more up in arms about. And there's bare men that would relish in the moment for playing for Liverpool, your Kones, your Thuram. Go and get them, man. Don't tell me you don't like the money they asking for, man. Like, money has never been an issue at this level. I hate when people make it about money. So what if the agent gets an extra 5 mil? Run that on the agent, man. Agent got to eat too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, listen, it's all. Look, I'm not saying Lavia can't come in and will be better. I honestly believe even if I want us to go and get Kefram, go and get him, bro. Go and get another one on top of that if you need to. This guy is too good to just be leaving to go and play French football, man. He's got too much good attributes. I wouldn't even say good, great attributes as a player. He adds power, pace, height, strength. He can play in the 8, the 6. Like, I don't know why we're just leaving these kind of players up there, bro. And then I know someone's going to go and bid for it. I wouldn't even be surprised if Chelsea go and bid for him after fucking Lavia.
I'm going to say this, innit? Because what I'm trying to say is...
I'll get my player,
I'm speaking from the overview because I can't get into these details when I don't know anything, bro. So I don't even know... I don't know if Thuram wants to play for Liverpool. I don't know if Kone wants to play for Liverpool, Amrabat, Caicedo, or Lavia. All we've going off is the press. So you can't pick the press for something, and then when it comes to the other thing, change how you feel about it. So as far as I know, everyone in the press for a week and a half or longer, it's been Lavia wants to play for Liverpool. He said he wants to play for Liverpool. Everyone accepted it. And now all of a sudden it's like, if he doesn't want to come and play for Liverpool. But I'm like, both people are doing the right thing. What the Beery saying is right, bro. Like, if it does invite somebody else to come in and bid if you don't take the person, and both of you are not in the wrong for it. Because if you was trying to buy a car of somebody and they said, this is the price, and you kept trying to come in lower, and I'm like, you phone up again, I'm like, I got this money now, and like, how much? No, it's still a grand under, and then somebody comes in with the same price or more, they have the choice. And then the person who's selling the car is not a dickhead because they never gave it to you. It's literally, that's how it is. Now I'm not bothered about Liverpool's risky business. I like it. You try to be risky. Chelsea's done the same thing with Lavia to what we've done with Caicedo. They've both done the same thing. The only difference is with Chelsea and Caicedo, personal terms, they got it over the line. They win, innit? They win the battle. Safe. All of us Liverpool fans went crazy for 6 hours, lost our damn minds, done videos. Who cares? It's fine. Everyone got views. We're not hurt by it. You can't troll us forever. It ain't gonna make a difference. It's done, innit? But Lavia at the moment, it's on the table. The report, because again, it's always going to be a report, is that they might be in the driving seat. But the thing is, I don't know who drives these reports. I don't know if someone from the club is telling this journalist to put this out. Tell them it's driving. We're front runners to put people off, because we have to just wait and see. I don't mind. I like him. I think he's good. I know that you prefer Thuram, so you're always going to say Thuram. Cav might prefer someone else, and you're always going to be biased towards that person. But at the end of the day, I don't know the reason why our scouting team doesn't pick people. But obviously, they get paid the big bucks and we don't, so there must be something. You know what I mean? They've done stuff
They
right
need a new job
past.
if they don't think Thuram is not good enough to play for Liverpool.
But that's not. But the thing is, that's not fair to say, because
no, it is fair to say, because with any blind man can see how good this player is, and if they can't see what, because he might swear a couple of times in training, they don't want him.
But seeing how good somebody is, seeing how good somebody is doesn't mean they're good for your club. If that's the case, then that means every Liverpool player that's played for us under Klopp, you wanted them at the club, and I'm sure you're going to be honest and tell me you didn't want them.
Okay, let me use that same sentiment. Do you think Messi is not right for every club then?
No, he's not right for every club. He's not right for every club. Everyone was just listening at PSG for 2 seasons.
All right, bro. All right.
But not. Was Messi the same as at Barcelona as he was at PSG?
Listen, right. I said, all right, man. I was asking for an answer. You gave me one, bro. You shied at me, bro.
No, I'm giving the rebuttal because I'm just saying, man. Like, come on. I know you're too smart for this anyway, bro. Like, we can't change stuff to fit what we're saying. Like, obviously, every club's not right, because we've looked at Chelsea, who ruined their strikers, and we all said, I don't know, man. That geezer might not be the right fit for them. Timo Werner, before he went to Chelsea, was cooking. Got to Chelsea, done fuck all. So it changes for loads of different people. You know what I mean? Minamino was cooking before he got there. He claimed he had done well, but it was too weak for the Prem. Wouldn't fit into our team, so he just might not be right for the league. Might not even just be our team. But it's because Thuram's your guy that you want him in it. That's why. So you think that it's stupid that they ain't picked him, but I think it's stupid that Liverpool didn't get Ronaldinho, bro. But we didn't get him. And most of the players I've ever wanted for Liverpool never got to Liverpool, bro. I didn't want Salah at Liverpool. I never looked at Salah and went, oh, that's the guy I want. I never thought that. You know what I mean? Virgil I did, because I just knew that we needed defenders. I didn't want Alisson. I didn't want Robbo. There's loads of them. I think that I wanted Jota. I wanted Gakpo. I wanted Diaz. Most of I wanted Mane. And that's it. I didn't even want Bobby, bro. When I was on the computer, I thought Bobby was linked. I was like, oh, he's cold. But, bring him in then. But off my own head, I wasn't thinking these things, bro. So I'm just saying, everyone's not going to fit a club. You know that? Di Maria played for Man U, trash. Falcao, trash. We can keep going. Pogba didn't feel what we thought he would have been. But if they went to a different club, could have been different. We all said it about Klopp and certain players. If you play for Klopp, he'd be cooking.
Listen, all I was trying to get at is, look, you're right in terms of everything that we're saying is all speculative and stuff. That's fine. But if the report said to be true at some point, because there's no point in believing one without the other.
Yeah, that's fine.
If he said he wants to join Liverpool because someone else comes in for you, now all of a sudden you have to think about it. The only thing you're thinking about is who's paying you more. And if that's what you're worried about, then Liverpool ain't the club for you. Because the manager, for one, don't want you to be thinking that. Is either you want to play for us and want to get better and want to come to one of the biggest clubs in the world, or do you want to go and play for the money? If that's what you want to do, no problem. Go and do your thing. At the end of the day, that's the sport you're in. That's the environment. It's about accumulating as many trophies and how much money you can earn. So when you retire, your family's set. And then, you can look back at your accolades. That's what the sport's there. But our manager doesn't work like that. Our manager is about who the man is. And if he's looking at who the man is and he goes, I've spoken to you, that's the report. Him and Klopp's had a conversation, whether it's true or not, I don't know. The conversation may have gone, you want to come to the club. This is what I have in mind for you. This is how I see us going forward. This is the project, blah, blah, blah. You turn around and say yes. And then Chelsea comes in for you. And you're like, well, let me just think about this. Then clearly it's not because Chelsea's coming for you. It's just about you're looking now towards the money. And if that's the case, there's no point of waiting around for these players, bro. Let's move forward, move on. Because if the club's agreed their fee and he's not agreed personal terms or he's thinking about it, let's move on then, bro. Let's go. I agree with that sentiment.
I just think that Liverpool are no better than Lavia, bro. Because they're the ones who left him hanging in the first place, bro.
But that's the thing. We didn't, though. Based on what you said, we didn't. We left him hanging for 24 to 48 hours at the most.
Yeah, and the links between him and Chelsea have been exactly at the same time, and he's not there yet, so he's not done anything wrong. That's my point. I just mean that him and Lavia and Liverpool, none of them are wrong in what they're doing. Liverpool's trying to hold out. Lavia was holding out for Liverpool because if you just said, if we're going to believe the press on it, The press was Lavia wants to play for Liverpool. The press was Klopp spoke to Lavia, and Liverpool don't want to pay the money for him. So what's it? That's Liverpool.
Well, now okay, all right. Now we have. So what's the excuse if you want to play for us?
I'm not saying there's an excuse, but
but that's what I'm saying. Like now Chelsea's there. He's now thinking about the package. And if you're worried about that, that's fine, bro. You're entitled to do that.
What I'm saying is, if Caicedo had signed for Liverpool, you wouldn't have that energy for Caicedo over Chelsea, and that's the exact same thing, bro.
But he chose not to because he wanted to go to Chelsea, which I respected. I've said this numerous times. I've said I respect his decision because Chelsea already did all the legwork. You want to give them that respect and see what you're offering. He's decided to go and sign an 8-year contract. That's down to him, bro. If that's what he wants to do.
You respected it after he said, "I'm choosing Chelsea." But when we did the video and everyone was excited about it, you didn't go, Caicedo's coming to Liverpool.
No, I was happy that that we agreed a fee, and if he was coming to us, it's not like I said, "Oh no, I don't want him," because if he chooses a different club, I wouldn't want him as a person. I understood that if he chose Chelsea, I would understand that. I would totally agree if he because they were doing the legwork already. But because we agreed a fee, I'm like, okay, so we swayed his mind. The owners look like they want to go and do something big. Klopp might be in there trying to convince him. But there was always that, okay, maybe in the back of the mind, he might choose to go somewhere else. And then literally 24 hours later, he was like, nah, I'll rather go somewhere else. Yeah. Cool, do your thing. Let's move forward.
It's football. Because I think it's interesting because it's even worse. I didn't know anything about Klopp and Lavia supposedly having a conversation. But I just think if I have a conversation with the guy, the manager, and of course Lavia knows that he doesn't own the club, but that's the manager and that's the head of our club for Lavia. If I have that conversation with him, like, we really want you and that, blah, 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 we're going to pay the money to get you, and then you just don't pay the money. Well, what was that conversation about, bro? Like, why didn't you, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, bro, Lavia might not think like that at all. For all I know, tonight, you could say Lavia's a Liverpool player, bro. You know what I mean? And then he did make the right choice, and then it can't be Bon Lavia anymore because he chose us. But, I don't know.
I think we're kind of accustomed to this because of Klopp, where if he wants a player, and the player doesn't have the right personality or he turns us down, then he wouldn't fit into our squad anyway. And that much is true. But I think in this scenario, it's slightly different because the option of going to Chelsea is still a good option. So whether he's spoken to, George or Klopp or whoever it is from a Liverpool point of view, and Liverpool and Lavia have spoken and he likes the project, it's been demonstrated to him what he'd be coming into, what's expected of him and all these things. He could be well on board with that. That's a step forward in his career. Currently, he's at Southampton. That is a leap forward. But then, if Chelsea come in with an exciting project as well, London-based club, new manager, a manager that does well at knitting a squad together. I know he didn't at his time at PSG or whatever, but we'll build a good unit, and they have new players. And there's nothing to say that Chelsea, maybe not this season, but in the future, certainly under the time that Lavia would expect to be there, would win trophies. That's also an exciting project. So he's now got, two opportunities that are slightly different, but both a step forward in his career. I wouldn't look at the fact that he's just exploring the Chelsea option as a complete turn down of Liverpool. It's just he's just looking at the options, and you can't really blame him for that. Yes, we would like the player to be like, yes, Liverpool are in for me. I'm going there. I'm loyal to what they've agreed. I mean, this is happening in the space of days, guys. He hasn't been sat on.
Been since Thursday.
Yeah. He's a young man. He's probably got to move family as well. He's either going to move to Merseyside or he's going to move to London. Very different lifestyles and areas. There'll be conversations going on about football and project and thinking about the next 5 years ahead for him and on and off the pitch. So it's just a scenario that it's got messy. It's stupid how this saga is kind of playing out. I don't think Liverpool have not covered themselves in glory by any means. But if we end up with the player, I'm not going to look at him and be like, he was flirting with somebody else and then he just ended up here because we just managed to get it over the line, or Chelsea walked away, or we offered a higher bid.
Most of
it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. There was
nothing Gakpo about Man U in the press conference, not Liverpool, bro. That's who we said it was flattered about. It weren't nothing to do with Liverpool at the time.
Cast your mind back with these two clubs. How many times have Liverpool not necessarily bid, but have spoken to players and looked seemingly like we're going to get players, and Chelsea have swooped in and took them, and they've gone on to have good careers at Chelsea? Willian, Hazard,
Yeah.
You know, many of player
Salah.
say Salah. Yeah, you can go to Man City. We spoke to David Silva before he went there. You know, it happens all the time, and quite often, you know, a year's gone by that we've missed out on these players, and we've been like, but they wanted to come to us. That'd have been great for us. Whatever. Yeah, but they went there, and when they were there, most of them were happy and they did well.
You know, the interesting thing is that Chelsea now, I mean, not like I care because they're them in it, but it doesn't matter who goes to them now because of how they've been acting in the last 2 windows and that. It's always going to seem like it's money, even though what you said earlier, they got a brand new team full of youngsters and a great manager, and they've got money and they've been the most successful team. If Man City might have edged it, but in the last 15 years, probably Chelsea got 2 Champions Leagues in that time as well. So they should have the pull without the money anyway, innit? But at now, whoever goes to that club, everyone's gonna go, well, you only went there for the money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not ever asking the player about their ambitions and that, because like, you know, Saudi Arabia. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them players have gone Saudi for the money, but there's gonna be players within there who are like, nah, like this is a new thing for me. I want to try and raise whatever's going on over here. Same when people went to the MLS, but it's always gonna seem like for every player now that it's for that particular reason.
But Savage, are we wrong in thinking that though? If everyone that's going there is going on like 200-300 grand contracts,
well,
we're not wrong in thinking that. So it has to be money. Because if the only way I wouldn't believe it's money is if both clubs offer the same thing, same package, and then you decide do you know what, London's better than Liverpool. That's where I want to go and live. But if one club is paying more than the other one in terms of a financial package, not your bid, then clearly it's to do with money. No matter what way you spin it, it has to do. That's going to always be the swaying point. It has. If one club is giving you an extra 100 grand, you ain't turning that down to go, Liverpool's a bigger club. So it's going to be the money.
But what if the initial package the club offers somebody already has the wages in it and it's already a certain price before any other club gets involved? Then it's not about that because you offered this me first, and then I've got the choice of the other club. And if this club's better at football or whatever, I think then you'll pick them. Because at the end of the day, I know we're talking about Chelsea at the moment. It's Chelsea, bro. Like it's not. We're not talking about like West Ham or Bournemouth. It's Chelsea, bro. Like most successful team in the last 15 years, 2 Champions Leagues within the time of us winning 1, and Man City winning 1, Man U not winning anything, or Arsenal not winning anything. So. And they're in London, so it's a correlation of loads of different things. But what if for now, when somebody just wants to play for Chelsea and they're getting paid good money as well, then everyone's picking and choosing what reason you think they've gone to the club instead of going, it could be for the football. It's automatically he's gone there for the money. But if that's the case, then no one was going to go to Chelsea then, innit? Because they've just got a rich owner, bro, with loads of money anyway. So you know that same thing was happening with Manchester United. You know what I mean,
guys? I think.
They offered Sancho the big money before Sancho asked for anything. They went in with the big price. So I don't know.
I think with the transfers, I think a lot of fans. I don't know if it's an acceptance thing. There's more than at this level of football. It's not about just football, and I think fans need to just take all of this thing on board. When it comes to football, some fans were like, "Oh, it's because of the trophies." And other players, like most of these players that comes from like a third world country, and you know, this is the way to elevate the family and create some sort of generational wealth. To some of them, man, it's just about the money. So when you're at this level, what are you getting $220 a week, or you're getting a trophy every season? It's not just because of the trophies, because the trophies comes with money and bonus. You have to take all these things on board. Which project look like the most likely to pick up a trophy? You know, which project I can use to elevate my family status and create some generational wealth. It's not just about the football. We obviously know all of these men have the quality and the talent to go and play at this level. So the fine details is, does the player value winning a trophy? Does the player value winning a trophy? Because look at Harry Kane, man. He stayed at Tottenham way too long. A player of his level. I mean, clearly it wasn't really about the trophy. It was just about probably the money he was getting. We don't know what kind of deal he was on over there. So at this level, it's just all of these things taken into account. So I would never fault a guy for trying to get a trophy next to his name, besides, you know, score the most goal for some Luton Town team or whatever, or saying, man, I need wherever the money is, I'm going there. So whether that's Saudi or wherever. So these are just all the factors that revolve around football. It sucks when it's up against your club, Like, yo, why my club can't match that? Why my project doesn't look appealing as the other project? Why my club not going in for trophies and shit like that? It's just all part of the game, and you can't win on all fronts of the game, unfortunately, unless you're blessed with some, endless pocket owners or something like that. So, like, at the end of the day, when the saga ends and the window closed, we'll just dissect it for what it is. Some things we may still not know as to why that guy went to Chelsea, but to end this point, the money is always there still. Man's always getting over 200, 220. So you can mark that down like, yo, man, choose the bag. But I'm not gonna fault the guy for choosing the bag.
You know
what I'm saying? No, but Savage, let's be fair.
I don't think you get what I mean.
No, Savage, I get what you mean. I get what both of you mean. None of you guys are wrong.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is the professional footballers who get paid loads of money already, and it's their job, they get paid for it. So I'm saying any club you go to, you're gonna get paid money. So that's like me saying Ward-Prowse has gone to West Ham for money. It won't make a difference. He's getting paid more than the regular person anyway. All I'm saying is they put that even if you put that to the side and just go on ambition, it can be any of those things. I'm not saying money's not a factor, because that's what I first said to Cav. I said sometimes it could be money, sometimes it could be anything. Obviously, it's going to be a collective in the end, because if man's paying me $1,000 and that, and I've already got a lifestyle, and that ain't going to work out, is it? And like Igalo said, they asked him about Saudi Arabia, and he said, "I don't come here for passion, bro. I came here for money." That's what he said.
And to that point, not to use this as a beating stick for Klopp.
Right.
Onto that point, Klopp, the way Klopp plays his football, and that he got labeled with the favorites thing. His project. Well, Liverpool fans, slate me if you want. His project, right? It's not a bad project, but the bad piece of his project is the pay structure. Like, for a guy to come in younger than Trent and makes more money than Trent makes no sense to me as a Liverpool fan. Like, I wouldn't want to see Caicedo coming in on 220 and Trent ain't even getting 220. Whether Caicedo's worth 220 or not, it defeats the whole purpose. Our project has not like limitation, but the structure of our project, it's a weird one. Because to bring a guy like Lavia in and put him on the same wage as Trent, I wouldn't like it.
Is that the wage? I don't know anything about it. I'm just asking.
No. I don't know anything about the wage. Don't quote me on this. I'm just using an example because I know a man going to Chelsea and getting 220s is easier than coming to Liverpool and getting 220.
Caicedo, even if you spent all that money on him, whatever wage, because his wages went up from $3,000 a week at Brighton, then it went up while he was at Brighton last season, and then I think McAllister's is like, don't quote me because I don't know what's right completely, but I think it's 150 or something like that, which is triple he was making at Brighton because he was on 50 at Brighton. So in my head, I'm like, well, if Caicedo comes in, I'm guessing he's going to be around on the same wage as McAllister, from the same club. You can pick and choose who's better because they play a little bit different. But I don't care about the age, though. I don't care about the age. If you're better than someone and you're more valuable to the club, pay him more, because Mbappe gets paid more than everyone, bro. He's better. I mean, he runs in straight lines a lot, but he's better than him in it. So, so one of those, man. But I know Cal pointed this out to me already, but I had it in the thingy already. I just had to change those done. But Neymar, Al Hilal. I mean, want to talk about that forward line of Neymar, Ronaldo, Brozovic, and Mane, bro? Because this could be a problem still.
They just won a trophy, didn't they? So he's just going to go in there and add quality, man.
My bad. My son corrected me on that. All right, fair enough, bro. Sound the flipping same. Continue.
Yeah. I mean, he
never the ball. All right, safe. Carry on.
I mean, Ronaldo. Obviously, they've got some high-profile players over there now. Ronaldo, maybe the biggest, arguably, but Neymar, in terms of getting a player, bringing his image, his attraction with the fans that will come along with him, brings more eyes to the league, to that club. That's a big coup for them. That's a big coup, and I know we've had this conversation many times, but it just adds to the rise of that league. And it won't be, I don't think it'll be too long before we look at our top stars. I know we've already lost a couple to that league, but we look at our top stars, Salah maybe next season and stuff, and they come back in for them, because as they've shown, they can take anybody. So
what are you saying, Cav? Salah decided to have a bitch fit while John Henry was in the stadium, and Saudi was talking about him last week. It's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, man.
Do you guys care about him going to games? Does it give you a nice feeling when you see the camera pan to the owner and he's just sitting there taking in the game?
Not one bit. Although, and I will say this, innit? Me and my son were just watching the Newcastle documentary, and I swear to God, man, when you watch it, I was trying to explain to my son that there's two different types of owners in it, and there's no point. I can't go, because these are acting like this and FSG is not, it's rubbish, or John Henry, because we've obviously won stuff under them, innit? But I will say in the documentary, bro, you really see how much these men are behind Newcastle in terms of like being a fan of them and that. Because before we knew about the Saudi takeover and that, in the documentary, they're in the stadium in 2017 watching Newcastle against us. So I was like, oh, damn. Like, hold on. And I was saying to my son, so you're telling me if this match was at Anfield, they would have picked us, bro? Because, you know what I mean? That Saudi money would look pretty good still. But, yeah, man, I don't particularly care. But honestly, anyone who's not watched it, go and watch the first episode. You'll get a feel of it. And I'm not joking. From watching that first episode, it's dangerous times when it comes to Newcastle going forward, bro. Because that Amanda Healy who's always sitting there, I'm like, oh, she's just sitting there, and she's one of the owners. Nah, bro. She's heading up all the deals. She's in the thing. She's going in Anthony Gordon, trying to make everything happen. So, yeah, interesting. I don't particularly care about.
Thank goodness we have financial fair play in here, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, the reason why I ask, I think we're all here from different regions of country and world, and as fans, these are the things that kind of brings us together. It's all about sharing the same passion. So when I look at like some of the fans and the way they talk about like owners, because we don't talk like that over here. It's like, yo, they own the thing.
1 second, Kev, you gotta go in.
I do have to run, yeah, but been a great show, guys.
Hey, big up, Kev, as always, man.
Philly, just like, just go away, man.
Oh my days! Nah, is that the exit you gave me?
Yo, let me tell you what was cool about that. Every time Savage dropped that clip with that guy leaning like this, and then it comes back, Cav always have the same look as the guy, and I'm just like, Cav ain't even helping himself, because the guy's leaning like this, all clueless.
Yeah, every time I do it pops up in the comment section later, man, big up Cav still.
Yeah, but every time the guy looks like this and he's all clueless, whether it's his intro or his exit, Cavs always have the same look as the guy, like.
Oh, Cav does just love, man, but yo, the opportunity was.
Nah,
great, man.
but the thing I was saying is it's the feeling of knowing man is going to war with you. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's cool seeing him in the stadium still, but if he's gonna be in the stadium, bro, I don't want man looking on like it's Test cricket. I need that T2020 energy, man. I need man to be, you know what I'm trying to say, goal score. I don't need you to get up and give us the quiet golf applause. No, man, I need to see, man, you know what I'm trying to say? Wreck some vibes in that.
Honestly, bro, like I was saying, based on what I was just watching, and obviously I've seen it with different owners before, because Abramovich, after being there so long, he becomes a Chelsea fan, and all of a sudden, he's buying stuff because he wants to see Chelsea do better in a certain way. You know what I mean? Because for them to be in profit after a certain time, it was going to take a long time anyway. So it's like, okay, they want to see him doing well. With the John Henry thing, listen, I don't know the guy and stuff like that. And whether you know anything about football or not, it's still a business. You know what I mean? I'm sure that whoever owns Burger King probably don't care about Burger Kings anymore. The original owner's dead. This geezer might just like business, innit? You know what I mean? He might not even like burgers. So I'm not too fussed about it. But there is a little bit of a difference when someone is passionate about the club, but it can be two things, and it can make it worse because then they start going over the manager's head to do certain things because they want better for the club, or they can make it better and are so passionate about the club that on top of making money eventually, I want them to do well in a certain way. Because when they asked him his ambitions for Newcastle, and he just started giggling, he's like, no, the ambition's to be number one only. That's it. And you could see like there was a game against us last season when they're in the stadium watching it. And these men look like they're going to have a heart attack because they lost to us, innit? When I think they lost 2-0. I'm like, okay, these men are actually like the damn near Newcastle fans at this point. Even to the fact that they invited the Newcastle players to like a mansion in Newcastle and that, bro. They invited the Newcastle players to a castle in Newcastle, and they were all like, it's like dinner parties and drinks and all that, bro. I don't know what kind of funky business probably going on there after the dark and that, bro. But even that was like, yeah, you can see it now. There's a relationship in it. They get to know the players, Eddie Howe and all that business. And, but every place doesn't work like that. The problem is most of our fan base, I think they think like that. So they want it to be how I'm talking about the Newcastle ones. I don't particularly care. And some of the fan base don't give a damn either. They just want our football to be great and our, the owners to spend some money. But
that's the fairy tale. That's the fairy tale owners of the elite sport, ain't it? Because even if you take all the owners of all these elite clubs and ask yourself how many of them are this like ingrained with the fans or embedded with the players to where, like you said, they're inviting them out to Castle and stuff like that. Like, bro, it's the small percentage. So if you're not in that percentage or that 2% or whatever, I'm just gonna put 2% on it. You're kind of like, no, you know what? I want some of that over there. But it's good to want that, but not at the disrespect of what you currently have. You know what I mean? And
I agree with you completely. Just on the fact of, Newcastle and Man City, and because that I've seen that with Man City as well. You know what I mean? The owners seem to be involved. There's always an interview every season for the Man City owners. I watch it. I want to know what their plans are as well. And he always sounds mad ambitious. But them Saudi man are mad ambitious anyway, bro, to the highest level, bro. These man are trying to make cities in the middle of the desert, bro. Of course they're ambitious, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's different levels of it. But that doesn't make our owners not ambitious. They're ambitious in a different way, or it could be the same way, and they're a little bit more silent about it. You know what I mean? They might have to do that. So I just think that people always look at the success stories or what's going well, and they go, well, I want us to be like Man City. And I'm like, okay, well, Man City is a massive success story in the Prem. There's not many more. Man U's in debt. They've been in debt for 15 years. Chelsea lost Abramovich, and there was some dodgy war dealings and that going on. This is a new thing with Newcastle. West Ham had owners who were fans of West Ham. Well, you've seen how that's gone. Not very good. Crystal Palace, Simon Jordan was the owner before, fan of Crystal Palace. You see how that went as well. Sacked, got rid of, failed, money went down the pan, administration. So most of the success stories, there's less of them than there is the thing, the ones what fail. But no one talks about the failures because it doesn't suit the narrative at the time, man.
So last question on that, right? So if you have oil owners and you drive an electric car, is that a conflict of interest?
Probably not. It's probably so above the grade of what they're talking about. It don't even matter. But maybe out in the open, they don't want to be seen to doing that because it looks like you're going against what they believe in, I guess. But you know what I mean? They know. Let's be honest, bro. When it comes to the Middle East and when oil money, we know the reasons why they're getting into the certain sports and stuff. Whether they become fans of whatever teams and that's fine because I don't have a problem with any of it. But what I will say is everything seems a lot's going electric and things are changing, and they can't just rest on the laurels of oil money because it might not be as prominent in the future. So they start to get themselves into certain markets. People wasn't taking them on board in certain markets and that before due to loads of different things, thinking things are dodgy, human rights and all this business, which is crazy to me because human rights everywhere is a bit of a shambles. And now they're getting into the door because they've got faces to get in the door and teams to get in the door. And Neymar going to Saudi now with Ronaldo and Benzema already being there. Let's be honest, bro. We're talking about the players who were the best in the last 10 years. A big portion of them are they're already there now. Kante's there as well. You know what I mean? And it's probably going to get worse, bro. Probably going to get worse. They're going to have to take it more serious. You know what I mean? So it's one of those, man. It's very interesting. You got Ox has landed at Besiktas today, so big up to Ox because whether his career at Liverpool went how I wanted it to do as well, he offered some good moments for our club, and I'm glad he's got a football team to go to, man, because hopefully he can reignite his career a little bit, bro. He's not old, so hopefully he does something there. Boxing from the weekend, bro, ends. AJ.
I don't like the picture you put up on the thumbnail. You could have done him a bit more justice, bro. You put up like he got thumbs up, bro. He won the fight, bro. Bro. Nah, man. Put the right.
I'm gonna let you know something on it. That picture at the end is his.
Nah, it's a dickhead picture.
Bro, the picture I put on the thumbnail is him celebrating at the end, doing the DX.
It's a dickhead picture, bro.
He knocked man out, walked off, did the socket thing like he was in D Generation X, left the ring, did a lap of honor, said wagwan to everybody, came back in the ring, and then was doing the cringy thing. Listen, I'm gonna say it, innit? But AJ, if you ever watch this, I don't really want to fight you in the boxing ring, but I'll fight you on the street, but I'm not in the boxing ring. But I'll say how it is, bro. AJ,
nah, man. You could have put a picture of him knocking the guy out. You could have done anything else, him standing over him, looking that. You decide to throw the one where he looks like some waste man, bro, and his bloodied up face. You're like, whoa, that doesn't. I thought he lost. by the picture you put up. I was like, wait, did he lose? I'm thinking...
Either way, that busted up face, there was no picture of him with a not busted face because the geezer busted his face up here.
I'm just saying, the perception is he got punched up, and that's the perception he left it. And you know, you knew what you was doing, bro.
Everyone knows that AJ won the fight. Everyone knows that AJ won the fight.
No, you knew what he was doing.
The reason why
I didn't know he won the fight because I don't watch boxing. I saw the thumbnail. I'm like, wait, so we're just celebrating the loser. But then,
exactly. Thank you.
Newsflash. It's a called thumbnail, by the way, man. I'm not gonna sit here and disrespect your thumbnail and all that good stuff, man.
Big up, bro. But all I'm gonna say is that's your perception, ends because everyone who watched the fight can see that the picture I put up in the thumbnail that's how he celebrated the fight, bro, of winning. It's not my fault. I didn't tell him to do the DX thing. I didn't tell him to tell man to stop it, bro.
Savage, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in terms of the thumbnail, in terms of what you did. It was cold. I'm just saying you didn't present him in a winning fashion.
Reputation matters is what Enz is saying.
You did. The picture looks like he's like this, and then he's got a blooded up face. I'm like, hold on. So you just show a man getting punched up then? Is that?
You're not a guy that most people don't know who he is. And I saw everywhere.
You didn't have to lead with that. The guy's a boxer, bro. You didn't have to lead with no one.
No. I can't just lead with the box because everyone knows boxing politics don't work like that, bro. Like anyone watch the Rocky movies know that at some point Mick was giving Rocky some bombs to fight, and then when Rock found out, he was devastated about it, bro. And that's why Eddie Hearn's moving now. Granted, one thing, he was supposed to be fighting Dylan White, and yeah, he failed the drug test and that, and so somebody else had to come in. This guy took the fight with 2 days. We saw at the press conference and at the weigh-in that AJ tried to do the bad man thing to him and said, like, what you looking at? You got a problem. AJ, I just want to let you know something. You've been in boxing a long time, since you was 18. When you do a face-off with somebody or weigh-in, they're going to look at you, bro. That's usually how it goes, bro. So I don't know why you're so touchy for.
He's like, you got an agenda, bro.
I do.
Oh,
it's an agenda for boxing. He ain't hit, bro. Like, AJ's good at it. That's where it stops, bro. That's where it stops in boxing. He's good. He's over.
So he's not elite. He's not an elite boxer, then, huh?
No way, bro. He's not an elite boxer.
So he wasn't world champion for no reason. All right, fair enough.
No, but there's hundreds of belts, bro. I don't care about that, bro. He's not an elite boxer, bro. He was great. He was better when he was younger, a little bit younger. His biggest fight was Klitschko when Klitschko was old and he beat him. And go on, tell me the next biggest fight he beat after that. Exactly. Because I think, and by the way, I feel the same about Tyson Fury. But the only difference is I think Tyson Fury is a way better boxer. But Tyson Fury fights loads of bombs as well. But listen, AJ could only punch up who was in front of him. That's fair enough. I'm fine with that. But he didn't just punch him up, bruv. Like, he made it too hard for himself. He made it way too... Like, there's no way... What did he knock him out in the 6th round, didn't it?
Hey, listen, he's first fight in ages, man. Leave the man alone, bro.
Yeah, but you tried to do this in the back office and lie, and then I showed you that it fought in April, bro. It weren't that long ago, bro. So AJ...
That's why I didn't lead with it 2 years again. I said it's long ago.
Bro, the biggest thing, AJ is in this position in the heavyweight division because the heavyweight division is trash, bro. It's trash. Now, do I think AJ's already been rubbish? No. I've followed AJ from the start of his career. I supported him, yeah, and I rate him as a person. He seems cool in that. One thing he's got is he doesn't know what persona to put on because he tried to go down the merry road and be the British champion. Oh, I'm going to play Sweet Caroline on the way to the ring. Me and you both know AJ's Mandem.
Yeah.
Fuck the British pop, but be Mandem from the beginning, and the people who ride with you they'll fuck with you, innit? The people who won't, they can go off and say what the one AJ went to prison. What news, man? But he done all that pandering business, and he was like, oh, and then what happened when he lost his first fight? All of a sudden, the memes came out. Couldn't handle it, bro. If he fights the way he should fight, because he's a brawler, bro. There's nothing wrong with being the quick technical boxer and that. Not everyone's got it, but some people don't ever have it, and they still win. Mike Tyson's not he's not Mike Tyson when it comes to technical stuff. Not better than Mayweather, bro. But everyone's favorite, most people's favorite, is Mike Tyson, bro. To just knock him out, bro. And that's
he was playing, bro.
Power. He got the size, but you saw when he fought Usyk, then he was okay. This is a proper boxer. God, I need to go back to what I need. But then he does stuff after fights now, where the last time Usyk, he was doing the Ukraine war thing. Yo, I don't know what's going on in Ukraine, but it's not nice. And I'm not all right. Relax. And then this fight, he does the cringy thing after the DX thing, suck it for no reason. Lap of Honor comes back in the ring, and then mid-conversation, mid-interview while he's talking to the guy, he's like, "Oh, what's next for you, AJ? Because do you think that you had to knock this guy out today because he's nobody?" And everyone was like, "No, I didn't have to knock him out. Everyone talks too much. Let me do me." But yeah. that would have been easy to say back then. Now you've created this for yourself, and then he does some weird faking a back injury thing. It's like, oh, my back, and he's like, because I'm carrying this division on my back to the way to the top. AJ, you know that if you fought like that against Deontay Wilder, bruv, Wilder's catching a body. He's over. What, bruv? Wilder's like technically as a boxer, he's not even better than AJ, bro. If you fight like that, bro, the way I saw this Viking come in the ring, looking all like dad bodish and jabbing you up in your face a few times. If that's Wilder, bro, sleep night, quill, bro. Sleeping, it's over.
Man's just in the rope, tied up, chilling.
Oh my god, bro! I want the best for him, man, because, like, I'll be honest, bro. I know people won't agree. I don't really particularly like Tyson Fury, bro.
I
feel like, listen, this controversial, but we know why. Just leave it there, and you know why, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
Because AJ's a certain person, he's a certain person. I don't understand how the media make it seem like AJ's done more like outrageous stuff than than Tyson Fury. AJ ain't done anything outlandish. He's done some cringy stuff in the ring, and he went to prison when he was younger, but it's nothing. Bruv, Tyson Fury's taking cocaine, failed drug test, fought bums, had loads of allegations against him, said loads of outrageous stuff about certain communities on the radio and that. But people still speak about him like, yeah, sweet Caroline. Even came to WWE and matched up my event, bruv. Nah, man, this sucks, bro. Hey, listen, AJ, listen, between now and when you fought Wilder, bro, just go back to what you know doing best, man.
Just go back and punch man up, bro. Just do just go and fight, man, bro.
Yeah, be yourself. And listen, even if you lose to Deontay Wilder, which you should beat him if you box properly, innit? At least if you lose, go out on your shield, man. Like, trust me, this what I'm saying is coming from a place of not hurt, bro. You know when you're supporting certain thing about man, and then he just switches up and that. I'm just like,
facts.
Come on, man. You man them, and you know what I mean. There's all the man them around, just like AJ's man them still. You got you still. You know what I mean. But I think his biggest problem what he had in his career, which can't change now, and you know he's made all his money. And I'm happy for him, bro. You know what I mean. He stayed in England too long, bro. No, and that's why when he went to America and was going to have the fight, I know that fight got cancelled as well. When I was watching all these like American events, they weren't respecting him at all, bro. They're talking about him like he's some bum, like who's Anthony Joshua, and I'm like, and I'm here in the UK, like, who's Anthony Joshua, bro? Who the hell are you, bro?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man. So hopefully he's probably gonna go and get a fight in between now. I think he knows that, like, when he has a conversation with somebody, he'll say, yeah, I could have done better in that fight. He won though, and it was a devastating knockout, and that's what you need to do. So fair play to him on that. I just don't like. I don't know. Everyone's got a boxer's chance, but when it's somebody that nobody rates already, and then you get in the ring with him, it's easy to look at someone's record and go, well, this man's won 34 fights and only lost 4, so, you know, he's going to give AJ a run for his money because AJ's only lost 3 fights. So, it's, but you need to go watch the 34 fights the geezers beat, because if you're beating up these pub brawlers and that, bruv, you can stat pad you, and we know that happens, innit? It's like if Salah scored all of his goals against Dagenham and Redbridge, scored 32 goals against them kind of teams, but scored 1 against United. We can just go, scored 33 goals a season, whatever. And then
you could have just used Harry Kane, innit? All he does for international score against bombs, bro.
Yeah. Macedonia and Montenegro and them teams there.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, it sucks still, but it's one of those.
San Marino and them, man.
Hey, man, this is your pick, innit? It's our pick, but it's your pick, innit? So let me know. We'll see what I go. Stinker of the week.
Can't hear you, by the way.
I'm on mute.
Nah, you're fine now.
Oh shit. Stinker of the week, bro. Hard to think of too many stinkers, but one I will say is the way the referee's attitude is what I think is a stinker of this week, bro.
Leave the refs alone, man.
Nah, bro. And I said, you know what it was, bro? It wasn't just in one game either. Normally I'm like, Anthony Taylor, this pussy old, bro. Nah, bro, all the other games I watched, listen, the problem is, you know what? The refs ain't a stinker. The new rules are a stinker. That's what it is. Because if all of them are doing the same thing, then obviously they're following what they've been told, innit? But I took my time out of the day. I messaged you in it, and I said, I just watched the Gary Neville Carragher thing, talking to Howard Webb. He's the head of referees, about the new rules and all this stuff. Me and you chopped it up talking about the 30 seconds on the sideline and all that stuff. But that wasn't the biggest problem.
Mm.
Trying to stamp down things. The things that they should fix up, they don't fix up. And the things that they're trying to stamp out the game that aren't that drastic, that's what they went in yesterday. Now, you take our game, for example, for both teams, by the way, so this ain't just a biased Liverpool thing. They're going to book people now for telling the ref that they should book somebody else. Now, there's a part of this I agree with, innit? You're getting up out the way and running into the ref's face, flashing the card, book him, you're surrounding the ref. Ref should book you, safe, innit? If you get fouled and you're just standing there, you're ref, no card, or you're on the floor and you're like McAllister, you're ref, no card. You know what? You get the card for that then. What? You hold this yellow? How about that? Come on, man. It's only a natural emotion to go, if you've been chopped up a few times, you turn around, you go, ref, come on, man. You're not going to give me yellow. That's the fourth time now.
Do you know what the issue is? I don't mind it being a rule. The only thing is, I don't think they've told the players, because the two men I saw got them.
Yes,
they went mad. And I'm like, so clearly you guys haven't told the players that if you ask for a card, you can't just be booking man. He didn't tell man this is the new rule. Because if he told us and then they do it, then you're like, bro, shut up, man. You got told. I'm not giving it to the ref. I'm giving it to Mo Salah. He's my stinker of the week. I think his behavior and the way he did the tantrum little kiddie thing. He's too much of a professional. He's too much of a legend for the club. And like what you said as well, if you're Doak, I should say, coming on in the game, you're like, oh, I'm coming on 25 minutes, gonna cook. Thank God I'm getting a little run.
Yeah.
And then you see the player that you probably idolize, and he's coming off like, oh, you must not rate me that I'm coming on then. And then you just go on there, you might go in your show. But if he's coming off and he's running off and he's like, yeah, come on, bro. Come on, you can do it. Keep going. You're gonna, go and do your thing. And this is why when we said no to Mo being a captain, justified. So he's my stinker of the week still, just because of his reaction.
Yeah, it's not the first time. And if he drops his head, has one of them little sighs, oh, fuck's sake, then walks off and, he's not like overly enthusiastic, but he still slaps their hands and that, and then he goes to Klopp and he doesn't really look at Klopp, but he slaps his hand and then goes and sits down, safe on it. You're disappointed about coming off. Because as Klopp said, which I 100% agreed with, he's like, yo, I forgot about his record, bro. Because that's not important to me. It's the team. I needed legs, and he weren't doing anything, bro. You had a great first start to the game. You looked a bit leggy in there. It's not only you who came off, and Gakpo and Diaz did not do that. They just took it and left the pitch, bro. You know what I mean? You're the star guy. You're the poster guy for our club. It's not the way to act, man. I'm not mad at him being disappointed coming off the pitch.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you're right in doing that, man. Because I'm looking at Doak and Harvey, and I'm like, so what? Man ain't good enough is what you're trying to tell me. You're just gonna throw up a strop like I'm a prick, bro. So yeah, a little bit of one of them. And I think, listen, the ref thing, it's gonna be great if they're consistent in every because that means that I should see one of the weekends there's about 17 yellow cards just based off people asking for it. Then it tells the players, you know what? It's zero tolerance. You can't even do it once. Same with the time wasting with Trent. And I think somebody else got booked for it as well. I get it. It took a long time to take the throw in on it. So if they've spoke to the people behind the scenes and let everyone know, sometimes it's like the ref blows the whistle and tells man to hurry up in it. We've seen that loads of times. Yo, hurry up, bro. Not this time. It's like, yo, yellow. So that's how we know now. But if I go watch another game, not because it's Trent, but if I go watch Man U Wolves tonight and somebody does the same thing and doesn't get booked, then it becomes a problem. Because you're putting stuff in place that you can't be consistent with, bro. You know what I mean? It's like when me and you was trying to speak. I know you was doing the watch along and I was in the chat. And to be fair to you, you made a point of saying, nah, I don't think that was a handball. And I agreed. All I said was, it's not a handball based by the rules of the game. But it is a handball because the way you've changed it, because I've seen it given on it. So, like, I would never give that. If I was a referee and I made the rules, to me, that's not a handball, in it. Hands up here, he's really not trying to do that. But he does block the path of the ball, but he's not trying to. But because even you said to me, yeah, but it weren't deliberate. And I said, yeah, that's because they change the rules every season. Deliberate handball's not even a thing anymore, bro. So I'm like, so why did they keep changing these things? Because let's be honest, we're going to see another one. I'll tell you what it was.
Did you say one was thing when he slid? Yes. You said.
I told you this in the back office.
Yeah.
While I was watching the Luton game. Man slid on the floor. Yeah. Slid, dunk. He slides. He slides away, so his back's facing the ball and he's facing the advertising board. The ball goes past his first elbow and hits the back of his other one. But the only reason why he hits the back of his other one is because he's holding himself up, obviously. But you can't do anything else.
He's meant to slide in like this, bro. Man.
Yeah, they gave the penalty though.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, you put both of them side to side and go to 100 people. Which one's a penalty? They're gonna pick the Chelsea one, bro. Even though I don't think it should be. So the rules are a bit trash. We got the new added on time. It's funny because when you mentioned it in your watch along that, how did wasn't the added on time in the first half longer than it was at the end?
It was 7 minutes. It was 7 minutes. I was confused. I was like, I'm trying to think how many. The ball hardly kind of went out as well. They felt like the game was moving really quickly because the first half just went by. There weren't really much like injuries or anything like that. And I was like,
it made no sense to me.
And then in the second half, I was like, where the game slowed down, it went out for throw-ins, free kicks were given, fouls. And I'm like, well, surely this half. That's when I said, oh yeah, I bet there's like 7-8 minutes added on. And I saw 5. I think it was 5. I'm like, 5.
Also, I saw Enzo push his head against one of my players' heads, like
bro.
Him. And then I saw my player breathe and get booked. Somebody tell me why the refs decided to book both of them. Bruv, today is a new day. I've slept and everything, and I don't know why Jota got booked, bruv.
Not only that, Gallagher didn't get booked after taking out McAllister. And look, if that's the rule, that's the new rule. You ask for a card, you get one. But yeah, also book the guy because my man was clean through running at the back line with options either side of him. And he took him out and you said, nah. And then I saw Ibu put a leg in, didn't touch the player, by the way, but the guy when Finn tried to ride the challenge, and then he fell over, the ref was like, nah, Ibu, I gotta give you a card. I'm like, I get why you gave him it, but Ibu, look, he put his foot there. The player didn't touch the player, but he's trying to get over Ibu because Ibu's so big, he couldn't. So he fell over, and the ref was like, nah, that's a card, bro. I'm like, okay, fair enough. It is. But you don't book the guy that takes our player out and then book the guy for saying ref, no foul now.
That's mad. It's absolutely crazy, man. But yeah, man. Let us in the chat know your stinker of the week, man. And just before we finish up, man, we'll get to some of your questions, man. We'll give it a couple of minutes, 5 minutes or so. Yeah, man. Let's take your questions, man. Throw them in, man. Any good questions, drop them in before we go. And we'll get to them. I think I started a couple of them from earlier, so I'll hit somebody. Some of these are just comments, but panel, would you drop Jota for Nunes and drop Gakpo for Jones for the next 4 games? I think
not for the next 4 games.
Yeah, I think 4 games is mad drastic.
Yeah, Gary can't do that.
But wait there, drop Gakpo for Jones, and that I would change that in the next game. You know what I mean? Whether it's Nunes or Gakpo who starts up front, but I definitely would make sure.
It will be Gakpo, I reckon, starts up front in the next game.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's not a bad shot, to be fair. What was this one? Nketiah at Palace would be perfect. They use a proper number 9.
Did he go on loan? No, he weren't there. Where did he go on? He went there on loan. Was it there he went on loan? Leeds.
Yeah.
I think Palace would be a great loan for him. It's a good shout, bro.
Yeah. Where do you man them think Lavia will end up going? And if we get Mr. Fake Timberland Shoes Sangara,
fake Timberland shoes, you know. I think he'll go Chelsea.
Yo, that's mad disrespect for Samantha Timberland shoes, you know.
Yeah, no, because I went back to the picture of him with the Timberlands, bro. Yeah, I think Chelsea. I think if Chelsea then puts in a bid for him, I think they'll up in terms of the wage that they'll give him, it will be more than us. So I think that's where he'll end up. It will be it's whether he wants to go and play for the money or not. The way I always look at it, which I don't blame him.
Yeah. Liverpool's always going to be in a sticky position, isn't it? Because I think the way our wage structure is actually really good. But there's just gonna be loads of teams now that can offer way more, bro. And then on top of that, now you got Saudi Arabia in there as well, and it forces the hand of the owners, and it makes the fans get mad at the owners when realistically the owners are trying to do the right thing, and it's the other ones doing the wrong thing, and we're gonna be in a sticky position. And I'll let everyone know, man, we're never gonna be able to get out of that. I'm all right because I'm like level-headed and I don't really mind, but we're never gonna be able to get out of that until Liverpool get taken over by somebody else. Somebody else buys out FSG, which they have to want to sell them, which they don't want to. We're going to be stuck in it, but that's kind of how it is. So Sam's question for the panel: if Lavia and Caicedo were the only players on the club shortlist they want to be all in for, and we get none of them, don't you move forward with anyone else? Wait, who's at fault? If we have to wait, well, if this was any of, I don't even know, bro. Because if I'll be 100% honest, man, if there's a wait for another player, because that can't be just a shortlist.
Yeah, I don't think the shortlist is that short. I know it says it in the
if
name, but it would have loads more players on there.
At this point, because they've shown that how much money they've got to spend, well, what they can spend. Just because we thought about 111, we probably got more money than that. But because they've shown how much we have to spend, we can spend. If nobody gets brought, then it's kind of on Klopp and the transfer team, isn't it? But the only the only issue I have, which I'm not sticking up for him, because I think I definitely agree with that, is this is the first time me and you and all of us we've seen Klopp actually talk about that they're looking for people, they're in for these players. So then the question would be, I literally just heard my manager say, "There's no secret that we're in for these players." He mentioned Caicedo in the conference and stuff like that. So why is there no players at all then? And then have to look at other stuff. So you know what I mean? Someone's gonna have to come out and let us know. The journalists will have to do their job, and in the most polite way, ask Klopp in it. Don't come off with your attitude and that. Just ask him. And if he says it's not up to me, then we know. And if he says I couldn't find anyone, then it's his fault. And then if we fail because of that, well then yeah, if you want Klopp gone, you can have him gone, bro. That's fair enough. I think that's a fair enough way to go. It will be on him. It's only ever a problem when we don't know the information and people make up their mind straight away. And I'm not mad at us not knowing the information all the time, because I don't want our club to become one of the messy clubs where everyone finds out stuff, or like someone like Conte starts talking about everything, what's going on behind the scenes. Unless our club's failing in every aspect, then yeah, the fans want to know because it affects us. But yeah, good question still, man. Does anyone else put any questions in here? I think a lot of people are talking to themselves. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about each other. Wait, there. Savage Enzo should have gone same as Nunes against Palace last year. Do you think it was a penalty yesterday? Oh, you're on about Enzo pushing his head against. I mean, let's be honest. What should have happened is Nunes shouldn't even have went either, but I get it. Because Anderson threw himself to the ground like a jackass, in it. But to be fair, Enzo's little push was probably as much as what Nunes did anyway. So my regular opinion would be, nah, none of them should have gone. You should have given him a yellow card for even attempting it, and then tell him to stop being an idiot. But if you're basing off last season, then maybe. And the penalty, I don't think it was a pen. But based on how they've been treating the game, maybe. So I agree. Do you think about the Nunes and Enzo thing? You think the same?
Or? Oh no, yeah, I think Jota should have just threw himself on the floor, bro.
Yeah, it's because it's beginning to seem like if our players don't do the same stupidness as everyone else, we're not going to get anywhere in it. But I know that you struggle with this as well as a football fan. Because my morals are a certain way, for everyone else to just go, who did I see saying this the other day? I don't mind saying the name because I'm not saying anything against them, but I think it was Rod's stream. And the complaint was, the whole stream ended up being about complaining about Chelsea and Caicedo. But they kept saying, it's not fair on us because when we do it, we don't get in trouble. Instead of saying, no one should be doing it. Because basically you're telling me that you're just mad that we got caught and they didn't. But that's not good enough. That means you actually don't have morals towards what you're saying. You're just mad that we don't get away with stuff. I'm just mad that people are doing stuff, bro. I don't want Liverpool doing anything dodgy either, bro. You get me? So it's one of those, because it's like, if Klopp gets done for tapping up Virgil and trying to speak to him when he shouldn't, but then another team is tapping up somebody else and don't get done, I'm not doing the snitching thing. Oh, he did it. Bro, I just don't want anyone to do it. If that's the case, that's the rule. But we both know realistically that rule probably should be abolished, in it, because whether Klopp speaks to somebody or not, you think that Virgil didn't say anything to Gakpo, bro? He did. He told us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I phoned Virgil and asked him what on. So it doesn't matter, bro. It's like, Klopp can't speak to him. Okay, so if Klopp gives Virgil a note, but Virgil reads the note and doesn't hand it to Gakpo, technically not breaking the rules.
Listen, there's always fine margins and technically.
And what you're saying is one of these ones. Klopp writes there's a, you save the notes on your phone.
Yeah, bro.
It on Virgil's phone, and then Virgil gets in a conversation at a coffee shop with Gakpo, and he says, "Hey Gakpo, I'm just gonna go toilet. I'm gonna leave my phone open here. Don't read my phone, but read it, and then just go toilet." And you come back and you go, God darn it, Gakpo. Did you go through my phone? He's like, we're such silly guys. And then and then all of a sudden, Gakpo's like, no Gakpo to Man U, straight to Liverpool. Hey, man, things happen, innit, bro? International break happens. Man are having conversations all the time. Things happen, bro. You know what I mean? You would hope that on international break, the focus on the flipping game, but there is downtime, innit? So when man are playing Xbox against each other and when someone happens to choose Liverpool, it's like, yo, probably should come to this team, you know what I mean? So
maybe cold in this position. Let me move you there quickly and show you what you can do.
I'm not saying anything, but you look great here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. KDB and Virgil are on flipping school runs and that together, bro. Man, conversations are going on in football, bro. You know what I mean? So it's one of them. Hey, good times, man.
Anyway, KDB is a Liverpool fan, and you know what I mean? Virgil's probably convinced him. Hey, in the last couple of years, you know what I mean? When you turn 34 and 35, you might as well just come here for a season. See how you go.
Virgil, we say KDB. You don't want to like live out your dreams and that. You've done great in the Prem. You got all this all that stuff. You've won all the Champions League and the Prem and that with Man City. You sure you don't want to just win one with the team that you're supporting? That it would look good in it. You can put in next. See your picture of you got as a kid in the little Michael Owen top. How about you have another one, but this time you're holding the trophy? Yeah, Michael Owen never won the Champions League. Here, he never won the Prem, but you can. You wanna go?
Yeah, trust her.
But yeah, man, it's jokes still. But yeah, one more question I can see here. Why are we agreeing a fee with the club and not players first? And then when we are letting go of the press, like, bro, became Man United, Arsenal, like, so messy. Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know, man. It's again, in it. If you try and get a timeline of the press and stuff like that, there's always like conflicting stuff because it ended up. There was a part where they said, which was the main article, that said Caicedo was open still though to Liverpool. So if Liverpool just hear that he's open, then
do you know the crazy thing about that? And I can see why people have an issue with it. At the same time, I can see people. You have to understand the club must be having conversation with a player and representative before they even make a bid. Like for us to think like Liverpool just putting bids for players and we haven't had a conversation.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone's that stupid, and I don't want to make you guys. I don't want to think you guys are that stupid as well. Clearly, we're having conversation. Yes, we have to obviously agree terms, but that could be like, all right, look, we're interested to get you as a player. We don't want to wait too long. We can sort out personal terms, whatever, but we'll throw the bid in. Are you interested if we offer the club what your value are? Are you interested to have a conversation with us and trying to get something done? The player says yes. Then why would the club not throw a bid in for the player? If the player then says no in that conversation, then are we that dumb to throw a bid in for a player that's told us, no, I'm not really interested in joining you guys? Clearly, that we must have been given some sort of a green light or some sort of conversation that took place for us to make these offers.
I believe that.
Stupid, I believe that. We believe it otherwise.
Yeah, I believe that because if I go off my assumption and what I know from agents, or even just the agents that I know, that some of them they follow the same like common practice. And if when people say personal terms, it doesn't always mean that the club spoke to the player. They spoke to the player's representative. The reason why they were representative because like the player saying, "I want to get on with football. You handle all of my business. This is my personal terms. So any club that comes in for me, let me know what club it is, and do they agree to my terms?"
So crazy, bro.
So if Liverpool get in contact about Caicedo and the agent's gone, well, yeah, it's open to a move. Chelsea's still interested. They've been interested for a while, but they've been saying this for the whole summer, and they still ain't put in the bid that thing you want, that Brighton wants. So yeah, he's open to anything. These are his terms, and Liverpool go, okay, say no more, 111, and then to speak to him. Seemingly, if man were booking the medical in, then he definitely had some terms there. But he changed.
This is what I'm saying. These man, you see what it is. Yeah. What these men have done is taken it out and make we look naive.
Yes,
bro. Every agent, just give you a bit of insight. Every agent knows what their players want from their contract standpoint. That's why they leave them to do their job. So when we go and offer for a player, we already know what contract these men have agreed with. That this is what I want for my next club. Or they would have been said, Chelsea have offered this. Yes. That's the personal terms Chelsea have offered. If you guys match it, we're cool. We're ready to go. But this is
there's not going to be no idiot to go in for him. Obviously, he knows that Bournemouth ain't coming in for him. So the chances are, man said, listen, There's Real Madrid, because Real Madrid is the main team he wants to play for. There's Arsenal, there's Man U, there's Liverpool, there's Chelsea, there's Man City, whatever, innit? These teams coming for me, bro. These are my fingers, and if they can match that for the club, because Brighton want this much, I'm here for it still. And then he changed his mind because his agent knows, bro. Why would his agent turn down Liverpool when he's thinking about his agent fees, bro? What he wouldn't. It's like I want him to move, bro. So if Chelsea look like they're not going to match Brighton's evaluation, well then what's going to happen is, remember before Liverpool came in, and then Bayern as well on the last day, but didn't really do anything. That means that Caicedo stays at Brighton because no other team's coming in. Because remember, no other teams bothered with him because it just seemed like, it's Chelsea bound, innit? Everyone knows. Until we found out from Brighton that nah, Chelsea, they want him, but they're putting the 80 million bid first, and this ain't good enough, bro. Liverpool didn't do anything about that because at the time we probably didn't have the money. Then sold Hendo and Fab, which got finalized the week before, and then the Thursday after, all of a sudden Liverpool were bidding. It makes perfect sense to me. You know, there's this thing where, and I know because you're making complete sense to me. I feel like to suit narratives and that, everyone's making up what sounds best for them, either to make us make Liverpool sound like victims, make Chelsea sound like victims, make Lavia sound like a victim or Caicedo, or to make it all dramatic when really it's the most simple thing, bro. Some people went back on their word, and that's it. Brighton went back on their word with Liverpool. Caicedo seemingly gone back on his word of whatever he said because he was happy to. I'm not even trying to hear all this. Like, I don't even listen. It's up to him, but if it was all true, you see what that thing is like. He's going to give Chelsea grace and that. Why? They've had the whole time to get you, bro. Like, they've had the whole time to get you, and it's them of the reason why you haven't gone yet. But listen, who cares? And it's a Brighton player now. The reason why I'm not overly disappointed is because the excitement lasted. We went live at 2:00 in the morning. We got off at 5, and then when I woke up, it was over, bruv. So while I was conscious, bruv, this lasted about 4 hours of excitement, bro. I'm fine, bruv. Let's just go back to normal and act like it never happened, bruv. It's fine. So interesting still, but here we go. Interesting. Brighton going for top talent from Lille, 20 mil, and we're scrapping with Lavia and Chelsea. She's making us look stupid in scouting if done twice by Shams. Yeah. I'm not gonna act like just because they might not end up at our club though that all of a sudden Sado and Lavia's not cold, because they are, bro. That's one thing I won't do. So it is what it is. But but we throw a bid in, but he didn't come the first day. That bid accepted. He didn't. Should leave the nugget. I say, okay, that's a point. But you say leave the nugget. But one thing everyone has to realize is it hasn't been that long, bro. It feels like it. It hasn't been that long. It was Thursday night, innit?
Yeah.
That's no Thursday night. Chelsea put a bid in for Lavia.
That's
Friday Liverpool put a bid in for
Friday
Caicedo.
early morning, like 1:00 in the morning. We threw in a bid.
Yeah, because earlier in the day people were saying wait for this news later. 1:00 in the morning, bidding for Caicedo. The day after, Chelsea seemingly are still interested, and then they started talking about it. And it's only Monday, so it's basically we waited a day in between, innit? And it's Brighton's fault because they shouldn't have put the deadline in. If that's the case, Liverpool wouldn't have done anything. Remember, Liverpool didn't put that in until Brighton said 24-hour deadline.
Yeah, by midnight. They haven't put a bid in. He's staying.
Yeah, man. That's what.
Or the highest bidder gets him, and then we was like, "Oh, okay, highest bidder gets him." Phone the agent up. Agent saying this is his terms. All right, cool. We'll bid it. Done. Then he's like, well, I wanted to go check. Shut up, man.
Yeah, because we've seen that. Like when you go to a regular auction and that, everyone's putting their hand up for whatever item it is, and when you outbid everyone, they go, sold to the man in the back, and then I get up to go get my item, and you're like, wait. We just spoke to the owner of this item. You don't want to sell it anymore. What?
It's an auction, bro. You can't take it off.
Yeah,
it's sold. Once the gavel goes down, it's done, bro.
You got Marion. I know End wants Thuram, but who you want, Savage? No, bro. From the beginning, it was Thuram and Kone. That was the two. That was before Sabozala was even interested. Like I wanted McAllister and I wanted Kone and Thuram, and I was done with the midfield. That was it. You know what I mean? And obviously, man, know about Amrabat, bro. But I've been running that for too long now. But no, Amrabat don't care about me, bro. So
Yeah, man's like,
I'm trying to sound like a fanboy, bro. Yeah, I mean, you already know something. The Birds already left me, bro. So allow it, man. It's fine, bro. So, yeah, I hope you fail like Burnley. Anyway, I just don't like how I've been left holding the stick. It's not even for banter, just like. Nah, listen, say, but the thing is, I get everyone disappointed. The disappointments. It's only natural, isn't it? Especially when you get yourself excited for something. Because if you take it for 2 days before, nobody was disappointed about not getting Caicedo. Everyone thought there was never a chance. Nobody cared anymore. So, hearing reports, we are in for Valverde. I can't do this to myself.
No, there's little reports. Valverde and Tchouaméni.
Yeah, my son said the same. 60 mil. 60 mil.
For Valverde.
You think them man does watch the football?
I don't even want Valverde though, man. I don't even want him.
Yeah, Valverde.
He runs in straight lines and he's quite fit in terms of his stamina and stuff. Other than that,
hey, don't do that. Valverde does not run in straight lines. Bro.
He just runs in straight lines, bro.
Nah.
Yeah,
But the only problem we've got with Valverde is he sounds like a virgin. And have you heard him speak?
Who, Valverde?
Yeah.
No, I've never heard him speak, to be fair.
Bruv, I promise you, bruv, you're going to have to do it offline because you'll die, bruv. You don't understand. He shouldn't sound how he sounds, bruv. And sound like Mickey Mouse. High pitches howl, bruv. Helium setting.
Shit.
And he's not in a position that we need at the moment. So Valdez not the word. I mean, if you're at Real Madrid, obviously we know Tchouaméni, but whatever. But he's cold though. Valverde will be cold in our squad, just not in that position what we need at the moment. I rewatched the game last night, and 30 minutes we could have. Bruv, I agree. Tear Chelsea up in that 35 minutes, they ain't coming back into the game, bro. They're excited for Caicedo, and God, I really wanted Lavia. Now we won't get him. Yeah, that's what my son said as well, and I feel the same, man. But listen, man. I have to trust in the transfer window's open for 2 more weeks now, so that's the time I'm giving them. I think as a Liverpool fan, it's only fair that you give them the 2 weeks what are left because that is their lucky time in it. After that, if they don't get anyone, you can rant all you like. I won't because there's no point because I have to wait till January. So you might as well hold your rant and then start again in January if they don't buy someone. So it's one of those, bro. But
why is it called a rant? Why is that like the word? Rant.
What?
It sounds so weird, bro.
Yeah, I'll just go with it because it's. I mean, we know.
I'm going to have a rant.
Don't because we know where these. We know which YouTubers popularized these terms, bro. But
no rant. I'm gonna throw it, guys. Don't blame me if you see me in one of the titles I throw up.
Oh, what you saying? Content is content, bro. Ends is about to have a rant. I'm gonna have a rant.
And then I go on there and I'm mad chill. They're like, nah, turn this guy off.
It's like, you know what it is? You know the people that in primary school when they told you they was going to get angry and then they started crying and then everyone went, oh, you don't want to see him when he gets angry. I'm like, where's the Hulk? I'll punch him up, bro. What do you mean? Nah, Anvil Ross said,
don't make him angry.
What
do you mean don't make him angry? Bleeds as well, bro, like everyone else.
It's so weird, bro. There always used to be that kid that would tense up and just start crying. Yeah,
like, bro, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, but what they were doing, they tried to intimidate the class, throw a couple of chairs and that. And I used to stand there like, oh, bro, bro.
I'll choke you out, big man, if you throw one chair near me, bro.
But this one guy who can't control his emotion, I'm supposed to be scared of. Man, this little kid, bro. Yeah, man. Not undateable and that. Anyway, gonna get off for real now, innit? Big up the chat. 2.5 hours.
Man. It's been great.
Obviously, you know, if there's any more news, if it's actual, factual signing, I'm on about the Don's holding up the top and he's at the actual training ground and it's giving Virgil and that hug. That's when I'm replying. I'm not.
Nah, man, we have to do a rant if he turns us down, bro.
We have to do a rant.
Yeah, if he turns us down, we have to rant still.
Me and you're gonna have to put that in our notes and it for like list of videos. Put a rant in there every week just in case.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Yeah.
Blow some steam off, man. It is what it is.
What you got coming up? I know Enz has got like he's got obviously I know about the show tonight, but he's got when do you
I'm about to say wait.
No, this week you said you're gonna do what, like Twitter Space something. I don't know, man. That's what
no, I did a show this morning, people. So if you haven't seen it already, to be fair though, I did tell the people that we was doing the hangover show at 12. I think I said it loads of times, so I don't know. They probably got fed up with me even fucking saying it, to be fair.
Yeah, honestly, my guy, man. The Savage rant, I like it still. Karen.
Yeah. But yeah, we got the call-in show later. We got the box-to-box call-in show later.
7
So
p.m.
be interesting. Oh, we could do a rant. Could be a rant for that one.
We could do a rant.
Yeah.
Guys, tune in at 7 p.m. box to box show, call in. You can come and have a rant about a player that's not us.
And it could by then as well, we could have signed the player as well, so it could be vibes, could be that.
I want to see people rant about FSG tonight. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to hear their points on that. Do you know what? I'm gonna be less I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I'm not gonna be defensive tonight. I'm just gonna chill and let people have their say. Unless you trigger me with something stupid, then I will. But today I thought I'm gonna chill out. I just thought I'll leave that in there. But if you trigger me by saying something dumb, then yeah, I will.
Oh no, I don't know how to feel about this, bro. What are you trying to say, bro? That you're gonna be late? What?
No. Listen. All I'm saying is we're doing the call-in show. I was thinking about it, yesterday and today. I was like, okay, when we do the call-in show, what we like, man? It's engaging. It's great engaging. We have a laugh. It's fun. But I want people to come on and feel like they can have a rant, bro, and let them rant. And then, but all I'm saying is have your rant. But if you say something dumb and can't back up what you're saying, then yeah, that you'll trigger me, and then I have to say something. But other than that, no, I want to hear everything, bro, because I want to learn, innit?
I mean, to be fair to them, they normally have a rant and then they go, "So what do you guys think?" And then I just disagree with them. So
yeah.
So because that's what I'll say to people: if you're gonna come and have your say, listen, have your say, man. That's what the show's there for. We literally made it for that reason. But if it's a question aimed at me, or you say something that is stupid, bro, yeah, and there's no evidence to back it up at all, or I hear you make up some lie like, no, because Klopp had a word with Truman and said that he didn't want him because he didn't like his dreads, and I'm like, he ain't got dreads. Why he didn't like his hair? That's not what happened, bro. Because if everyone knows on the internet, there's one thing is my thing, bro. And will call you out for being stupid. I will call you out for this fake news, bro. I'm not having it, bro. I can't do it, especially about my club, bro. You can't tell me something. Don't try and tell me some inside conversation that Salah and Klopp had when I know they didn't. Yeah, I mean, because I'll just go and look. Did Klopp say something? If he didn't, and Salah never said anything, I don't want to hear it, bro. Because too many men have done that. You know how many men they've told me that Klopp turned down this guy because where, bro? Yeah, you know what it is, man. But big up to everyone in the chat. It's been love, man. And yeah, join us later on. Definitely 7 p.m. every time. You're all welcome, man. You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.